What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers? Happy Sunday, September 24th to all of you. Welcome to NFL Pub Hub right here on Pub Sports Radio, Sunday's best show. We have 8 cappers giving out their best sides, totals, and player props. Every single bet is tracked all season long by every one of our guests, including your host right here, who's coming off a very rough week, but ready to bounce back in a big way. Shout out to everybody joining us. We got Nuke Worker, George Schwanner in the house. Nuke Worker on Saints, Broncos, Commanders, and Raiders. George Schwanner on Bijan Robinson, anytime touchdown. Professor Chris, Ronnie Mbergia, Perky Sanderson, Clint McLean, star of the Die Hard MMA podcast. We got Big O, Eric Jones, Dom Play, Jake Kaiser, Jedi for Life, Alfonso Scott, a great group of cappers ready to get to work. Red Girl in the house, whom we love dearly. Let's get right after it. Work needs to be done. We got to keep a brisk pace. I have 9 bets. I had 8. I just added the Falcons plus 3.5. I was trying hard not to add anything because of the poor showing last week. On Tuesday night, I moved on Tennessee, Cleveland under 39.5. I moved on the Chargers money line, Commanders plus 6.5, Colts plus 8, Chiefs first half minus 7, Dallas, Arizona under 44, Steelers, Raiders under 43, and Buccaneers plus 5.5. I had leans towards the Falcons, the Saints, and the under in that one, the Texans, the Panthers, and the Broncos. I like all of those bets. You know, if I wasn't coming off such a horrible week 2, I'd probably make all those bets. But I decided to keep things a little tighter today. And so I've only added the Falcons, and I'm comfortable if that's the only addition at this point. Stacks play today is in Jahmyr Gibbs, over 78.5 rushing receiving yards. That's a very important note here because we're going to go into all of the injuries. You guys have heard my plan and my game script. It's all on Bankroll Blitz with Troy Torrance. So this is about our guests. I'm the host. I'm going to set up the line movements. I'm going to set up the injuries, and I'm just going to let the guests do their thing. They are the stars of this show, as is the chat. I want to know what the chat is doing. Big O says, I like your Chargers money line. Jimmy Staley's job is on the line. If I knew Staley's job was on the line, I would like the Chargers to lose this game and get his ass out the door. But we know what preseason firings look like in football. It's like giving up, basically. Troy Torrance, he is on the Patriots money line and the spread. He's on the Commanders twice at 6 and 6.5, and he's also on the Commanders money line. He's on the Chargers money line and the Colts plus 8 with me. He's also on the Texans plus 8.5. He's on Pittsburgh, Las Vegas under 43.5 with me. He got a half-point better number. And then Buccaneers money line and Buccaneers plus 5. Ron Crawford, who we see in the chat, his spreadsheet play today is the Broncos plus 6.5, and I've come so close to moving on it. Of course, he's 2-0 to start the year on his football spreadsheet plays of the day. Pub Sports Radio Circa Picks. We are 5-3-2 in the Circa contest, and I'm extremely uncomfortable with our picks. The number 1 overall pick in the voting for Pub Sports Radio, this is our Cappers Contest show on Thursdays at 2 p.m., hosted with Jose Bouquet and myself, was Titans at 77%. Titans plus 3.5. Dolphins was next. Dolphins minus 6.5 at 75%. Cowboys minus 12.5 and Chiefs minus 12.5. And then the Steelers, you know, that's a huge line move towards the Raiders. And the fact that they moved on the Steelers, it makes me so uncomfortable. I can't even begin to explain how uncomfortable I am with our Pub Sports Radio Circa picks. But it is what it is. And I'm going to give our cappers, our members, because the members only show the benefit of the doubt. Professor Chris is also on the Packers. Week 3 home teams after 2 away games, only 32% against the spread since 2005. That being said, my numbers still show positive EV on the Pack. Professor Chris says fade the Fins today, Broncos all day. I really want to. Maybe I can get talked into it. Maybe. Let's talk about the most important injury news here, really. And it's, you know, it's not like last week. There's less of it, even though there's probably more injuries. Anthony Richardson, Colts quarterback, and Panthers quarterback Bryce Young out. Chargers running back Austin Eckler out. Dolphins wide receiver Jalen Waddle out. All right, let's get to work. we have such a great show. We have Bobano leading off, then Brizzy, then Jose Bouquet, Pistol Pete Loshak, who went 3-0 in week 1. Tim Earl of Earl Sports Bets Brothers, Dutch Boy Fresh, and Connor Mack will be closing it up. Birdie says, happy Sunday, everyone. Birdie was excellent on this show last week, and he will be on again very, very soon. There's smoke and mirrors in the house. Harold Williams, Jason Edwards, Abel A. It is a great group. Game over, Bob, Primetime 99. Thank you guys for joining us. Let's get right to work. Let's bring on last year's champion. He was spectacular last year, led throughout the season. And week 1, a little bit of a hiccup. Week 1s are tricky. 5-6 down 1.8 units. No harm, no foul, no problem to get him back in the black right away. And he's a high volume gambler, and I expect him to get right in the black after this week's action. Please welcome from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada's black and yellow, Ian Cameron to the show. Bobano, how are you?
I'm good, Jimmy. Another NFL Sunday. Let's go.
Let's get right to work. Bobano has 7 games he's rocking. We've allotted Bobano extra time because of the setup that is required when we first talk about games. Chargers, Vikings, US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Let's get right to the line history here for this one and the cash flow. Here we go. For the line history, there has been a small move to the Chargers today. Actually, take that back. There's been a legit move to the Chargers today. Wow. Okay, great. This is great news. The Chargers are now slight favorites. Wow. Okay, this is good. Let me just go to the money line. This makes me a little more relaxed. Now, they're not here. At Pinnacle, they've got Minnesota minus 107. Chargers minus 109. But the Chargers had been plus money here for 4 days? So that's a good sign. They're sitting at minus 105 right now. I'm happy to see that. We'll go over to the total for this spot. The total is sitting at 54, an extremely high total. I talked about how high the total was and how they're high totals for a reason, and it's 54.5 at Pinnacle, although it is juiced to the under. This opened up at 51.5, and no matter how high I think it is, it's probably makes sense that it's at that number, even though I see that number and I just want to get underneath it. When we get over to the cash flow for this spot, Chargers, Vikings, get over here. I passed it, my fault. Jesus. Okay, here we go. We have 44% of the tickets and 54% of the cash on the spread on the Vikings. On the money line, we have 53% of the cash, 53% of the tickets, 63% of the cash on the Vikings. And from a total perspective, 83% of the tickets, 81% of the cash on the over. And I guess that is reason enough for me just to let that go, even though it does look so high to me. Austin Eckler, Eric Kendricks out. So your running back, linebacker out. Joey Bosa still dealing with the hamstring injury, questionable but expected to play. Then we have Diane Henley, linebacker Chris Rumpf, and defensive lineman Christopher Hinton, all questionable. For the Vikings, the big news, Marcus Davenport is out, and Garrett Bradbury, again, questionable. So with no Eckler, we can expect Joshua Kelly to have a better day than he had against the Titans. We know what the Titans' run defense is like. This Vikings' run defense is not at that level, and it hurts to miss Davenport. But Christian Darrisaw and Jordan Hicks are good to go, which is very important to this Viking squad. That is the setup. Now we need to hear how Bobano is getting paid. Take it away, Chargers, Vikings.
Fade Vikings. It's been something I've done all season so far, and I'm doing it again here. Chargers plus. I got a plus 1.5. I doubt that's around anymore, but we can still get plus 1. That's fine. No problem whatsoever. I think, the Chargers are not any great shakes. The Chargers are dead last in the NFL yards per play defense. And that, considering the talent on paper that this defense has, is stunning. Is absolutely just an indictment of Brandon Staley, quite honestly, because he's a defensive-minded head coach. And here's this defense that's ranked dead last in the NFL. That being said, they faced a pretty good slew of offenses. I mean, Miami in the first game. I know Tennessee not as good, but still can run the football with Henry. Minnesota's defense does not impress me whatsoever. We've seen what they've done the first 2 games. Mayfield and the Bucs went up and down the field against them. We saw last week them struggle throughout against Philadelphia, albeit a really good offense. Chargers are going to get their points. Simple as that. Inside, no other issues. And I think they'll outscore. And I like the over too. I want to throw that in there as well. I'll make that an official play as well here in this game. But I think in this spot, it's worth noting these are 2 0-2 teams. They're both desperate for a win. But the Vikings were for sure on their way to losing to Tampa against Tampa Bay in week 1. They were for sure going to lose that game to Philadelphia last week. In fact, they got garbage points in the fourth quarter when they were already out of it. The Chargers are 1 play away in probably both games, 1 stop in particular on defense in both games, to beating Miami, to beating Tennessee. And, look at how close they were in both of those games. I don't think the Chargers are a lost cause. I kind of think Minnesota is a lost cause. Chargers +1 and over the total 53.5 -110 at DraftKings.
Can get you a -108 on that over 53.5. Pinnacle has dropped it a half point. Let's move on here. Chargers +1 and the over 53.5 for Bobano. I like the breakdown. It gives me some confidence here. 1 p.m. Eastern, New England Patriots at New York Jets, MetLife Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey. 63 Fahrenheit showers, but heavy rain comes in. Heavy rain comes in. We're not entirely sure when it will be. We'd love to have someone with boots on the ground here. And we have injury issues. So Ypsilanti, City Sow, and Jonathan Jones are out. That hurts. They're both limited Friday's practice. They're out. Devontae Parker and Trent Brown have been removed from the injury report. That is good. But this offensive line is still hurt. Michael Onwenu and Cole Strange are still dealing with injuries and are questionable. For these Jets, Dwayne Brown has gone from questionable to out. So, now there are some good things.
That's a good thing for the Jets, by the way. If you've watched the way that guy's played, that's a good thing.
Well, it is. I mean, yeah, he's been terrible. There's no doubt about it. But if you can limit the amount of times he's on the field, I mean, we know he's old and slow and terrible, but I'm not sure if they're better off with him just completely off the field. If he was healthy and he played 30 snaps, I think you could get something out of him. You can't expect him to go out there and play 50 snaps. John Franklin Myers and Greg Zuerlein are good to go. That's very important here. And that's the injury situation. So let's go right into the line movement here for this one. This total just keeps dropping due to weather. Yep. It's all the way down to 35. It's also juiced to the under at 35. An extremely low total. There is 13-mile-per-hour wind, so it's not just the heavy rain alone. And then from the side scenario, we have 2.5s right now. 2.5s. There were 3s at times this week. The 3s came in about 2 hours after this line was dropped. It moved from 2.5 to 3. So there was a lot of belief in the Patriots, and that started going away. That the -3, which got up to the -3 was never a minus. Like a -101 was the most expensive the 3 cost, but it quickly went to +110 and then back to 2.5s. And there was times where this 2.5 would be at -120. There's times that this 2.5 would be at -111. There was times where this 2.5 was juiced to the Jets, and that time was just an hour and 8 minutes ago. Go over to the cash flow here for the Pats game. We have 72% of the tickets, 87% of the cash on the New England Patriots, 63% of the tickets, and 86% of the cash on the under. Take it away for us, Bobano. Game 2 for you, Patriots Jets.
Yeah, this game here, I'm not really high on the Patriots. That being said, I'm going to give them a try this week in this spot against the New York Jets. And let's be real about the Patriots too. Look who they played the first 2 games: Philadelphia Eagles, Miami Dolphins. And the defense was not as good as I thought, but you're playing 2 terrific offensive football teams. And, after they spotted Philly, that big lead in week 1, I thought the defense did very well, against Jalen Hurts and the Eagles. I thought that defense did everything they could to allow them a chance to get back into that game. The Miami game, look, that's a tough matchup, when you're playing Tua Tagovailoa in that elite level passing attack, and Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. It's tough to stop. This is a step down for what I still think is a pretty solid Patriots defense here. taking on this Jets team. You're right, Jets. Dwayne Brown. I think it's actually a good thing the left tackle Dwayne Brown's out, but who's going to replace him? Is the offensive line still a big area of concern for the Jets, which is concerning because with Judon and the Patriots, they can still get a pass rush, and that's really concerning when you know that Zach Wilson's the quarterback, and Zach Wilson's capable of making mistakes when he's under pressure. That's the thing. I think both of these quarterbacks are going to be under pressure. This is going to be a defensive type of ball game. The weather's not going to be great, but who's going to make fewer mistakes? I still think Mac will make fewer mistakes than Zach Wilson in this football game. I think that's going to be the difference. Plus, Belichick has owned the Jets. The Patriots have owned the Jets last year included. So until that changes, yeah, I'll go with New England here in this matchup, and I'll go money line here, minus 138 at BetOnline.
You got it. Patriots money line minus 138. You're right with Troy Torrance on that. He's got the money line and the minus 2.5. And I imagine, we have Jose Bouquet on the show. There's other cappers who are going to be talking about this game, so we'll get some back and forth on it. Move on to the next spot for Bobano. Saints, Packers, Lambeau, Green Bay, Wisconsin, 68 Fahrenheit, cloudy, 12 miles per hour. The big story here for me is Kendre Miller good to go. So we're going to get to see the third-round draft pick. I didn't know if that was the case on Tuesday. We know that this is the final game of Kamara's suspension. We know that Jamal Williams out with a hamstring injury. So, Troy Jones Jr. was brought up from the practice squad. We thought maybe that Mims would get brought up from the practice squad too. Can you be creative? There was all these possible options for how they would run the ball, but now it's solved. Kendre Miller is good to go. So that's very, very, very important. For the Packers, they're dealing with injuries. Bakhtiari and Jair Alexander and Aaron Jones are monstrously important players who are all sitting here listed as questionable. So is Christian Watson and Lucas Van Ness. So you got 5 players. Elgin Jenkins is out of the guard. That hurts. And then Zane Anderson, safety, out with a hamstring injury. So if, is A.J. Dillon going to be the number one? Is Jaden Reed going to be getting a ton of snaps at wide receiver? We need to know what's going on with Jones and Watson here. I came close to moving on both the Saints and the under, and I got cold feet. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have the Saints all the way down to a +1, opening up at +2. So we have a 1-point move towards the Saints, and we get into the total for this spot. Here we go. The total is sitting at 42.5. This opened at that number. It dropped down to 41.5. There's been a 1-point move to the over. That happened 2 minutes ago. In my history with unders, when I'm on an under and I see that 1-point move or something like, back to the original line, that's really bad news for my under. Seeing that right now, it makes me thankful that I didn't move. And we got great weather over here. Now we know what the Saints defense is capable of, and they're very strong. We go over to the cash flow then for this Saints spot. Here we go. We have 60% of the tickets, 57% of the cash on the Packers. I mean, that makes the Saints a little more appealing because the line's been moving to them all week. And then money line, same deal, 56% of the tickets, 70% of the cash on the Packers. And then 42% of the tickets, 75% of the cash on the under. And we just saw that big 1-point move to the over. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Saints, Packers.
It's funny. You like the Saints and you like the under. Guess who's on the opposite of both side and total in this game? Yours truly, Packers and over for me in this game. So and I like the Packers a little bit more than I like the total in this game, but I'm on both. Green Bay here, money line, minus a 115 BetMGM. And the over at 41.5, minus 110 at Bet365. So there we go with the Packers and the over. Look, I get the Packers injuries, and I don't like it either. And I don't like being on the Packers with these injury concerns. But this is a pick'em -1 at home with a team that could very easily be 2-0 right now. They probably should have beat Atlanta last week in that game. I think they just ran out of gas. I think Atlanta's defense is a lot better than what people thought. And I love this spot for the Packers. I like that they're off a tough loss where they lost in the fourth quarter. And I'm not convinced all these guys are sitting out. I'm not convinced Watson's not playing. I'm not convinced Bakhtiari's not playing or Aaron Jones isn't playing. I think there's a decent chance we see at least 1 or 2 of them, if not all of them, because the Packers for years have been very deliberate about letting injury info get out. So to me, it's not a sure thing that all these guys are going to be out. And even if, many of them are, or all of them are, I'll take my chances. I saw that Saints game, and I was on the air. We were, you too, Jimmy, that Carolina game Monday night. That was a wretched offensive performance. I ain't trusting that offense on the road on a short week, period. No way. Not after what I saw. Derek Carr was brutal. He made one really good throw in that football game to Olave to set them up close to a touchdown. And other than that, they did nothing in the football game. The Saints, nothing on offense. I do think their defense is solid, but their defense hasn't faced anybody. Who did they play? Carolina with Bryce Young and a bad O-line? Who did they play in week 1? Tennessee, a plodding offense? No, they're going to play a pretty good offense, or at least a better offense, in my opinion, which also gravitates toward why I like this over here at a low number. So Packers and over for me.
You got it locked in. And I did not bet those. I had enough concern here that, and I made 9 bets. So it wasn't like I was I was a little hesitant to have a huge amount of action after the debacle last week for myself. But let's move on. Falcons, Lions. This was the only one of those leans that I spoke of that I bet this morning. I took them at 3.5. Maybe that's safe at minus 122. For me, the Lions have 2 offensive linemen hurt in Decker. Taylor Decker and Halapoulivaati Vaitai. David Montgomery is not expected to be out there. So that's why, the Jahmyr Gibbs prop and Craig Reynolds, people are looking at all of that. Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to play. We know he's dealing with turf toe. I'll be watching him closely to see if he's the dominant wide receiver that he's been in his career. And Jeff Okudah comes back at corner for the Falcons. And we hope that Cordell Patterson will be there too. And linebacker Troy Anderson is out of concussion protocol. This was a spot where I don't want to sell, or I guess, you want to buy low and sell high, obviously. And the Lions looked really bad last week, but maybe there were legitimate reasons why they looked really bad. And maybe it's a personnel issue that they might not be able to fix right now. That's sort of the way I ended up saying, you know what, maybe this isn't the time you want to fade the Lions. Back-to-back home games, just losing as 6-point favorites. But I felt like that 3.5 was enough for me, and I'm a big Arthur Smith fan. With the spread, 62% of the tickets are on the Lions, but just 44% of the cash. We've seen it go from 4 to 3, although you can pay for a 3.5 right now. This total is sitting at 47. It's sitting at 47. It's sitting at 46.5 right now. It opened up at 47. I did see a couple books move it to 47. And then from that total scenario, we have 74% of the tickets, 70% cash on the over. Take it away, Bobano. Next spot for you, Falcons, Lions. And we got to speed it up a little bit, and I apologize for my long opening.
That's all right. All good. Death taxes, Lions games over the total at home. So that's what we like here. Falcons, Lions over 46.5, minus 110 at Pinnacle. Cashed a ticket with the over last week in the Seattle-Detroit game. Very easy one. Lions will move the football here. And I like Atlanta. The reason I'm tempted, I probably will now at minus 3 have a small bet on Detroit. Just because they're off a frustrating loss. They're at home 2nd straight week. Atlanta now going on the road. Let's keep that in mind too. Desmond Ridder on the road for the first time this year. Home cooking against Carolina and Green Bay the first 2 games. The jury's out on Desmond Ridder for me still. I think what I like about the kid is that in the 4th quarter, it seems game on the line and we need to make something happen. He's done it. So I give him credit for that. But he started out games very slowly. He's got to play better than that here against the Lions. So Lions minus 3 is a smaller bet. But for me, the only official play is going to be just because of the injuries. I can't make it official. It's a tiny bet. I like the over more. I think Detroit can move the ball against a very good Atlanta defense. But again, who have you played? Carolina, Green Bay. Green Bay is not a bad offense. I think Detroit's a better offense, better than the first 2 opponents Atlanta played. And now they're on the road. Let's see that defense get stops on the road against a better offense. So I think Detroit can move the ball. And look, Detroit, we know the injuries they have on defense, and we know they just got ripped apart by a Seattle team that couldn't move the ball against the Rams. So I do believe Bijan Robinson can run the football successfully, take some pressure off Ridder, and Atlanta can have some success offensively. So obviously indoors, Ford Field, no issues with weather. I think it's another high-scoring Detroit home game. It seems like we see one after another the last couple of years. So over 46.5 here.
You got it over 46.5. Let's move on to the next spot. Colts Ravens is the next spot on Bobano's card. I kind of wanted Steichen for us to not know who was at quarterback here. I wish that there was we could force the Ravens to prepare for, because they're two completely different
Quickly, I
quarterbacks.
want to jump in on something Primetime 99 said about Algier.
Sure.
Algier has gone over his rushing yards prop in 9 straight games going back to last year. So if you like that prop, bet it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Here, I'm on the Colts +8. I would like to see, well, I have the total up here right now. This total is sitting at 43. It opened at 44. I know that Dennis Garcia is very high on the under, and I stared at it for a long, long time. From a spread scenario here, it's down to 7.5. Okay, that makes me feel better. I wanted to see, because it was at 8 for so long. I was like, just can the book show me any concern, just a little bit of concern? 69 Fahrenheit showers, 5 miles per hour. I sit back and I wonder, should I be on this under? Should I be on it? The Ravens have 7 starters out. 7. And we know that they're a next man up squad, and Harbaugh's a great coach, and blah, blah, blah. This has got to affect them. Has to. Odell Beckham, Justice Hill, Marlon Humphrey, Tyler Linderbaum. We got Odafe Owe, the outside linebacker, the tackle Ronnie Staley, safety Marcus Williams. I mean, we're talking all over the field. And I like Minshew. I do. Now, there are issues here as well. Ryan Kelly's out with the concussion, so we have, Wesley French, the backup center, in.
We have backup centers on both sides today here. Yeah.
Yeah, because Linderbaum's on as well. Yeah, no, well put. So let's just take a look at the cash flow. I'm still wondering, do I move on this under? Maybe I do. Let's talk it out here. But first off, let's go to the cash flow for this one. We have 43% of the tickets, 82% of the cash on the Colts. I mean, it looks like a sharp spot. 55% of tickets, 59% of cash on the under. Feel like I should move on this under. Joe Yurgis says, because Colts can't stop the Ravens here. All I need is 27-17 Ravens for the over. So he's looking at the over. Take it away for us here, Bo Bano. Your next spot on the board, Colts Ravens.
You know what's crazy? And this actually, it's not crazy. I always say rain is overrated when it comes to totals. Wind concerns me more. From what I'm seeing, it's not going to be too windy. It's not going to be too windy here in Baltimore. Now, it is going to be pretty steady rain.
5 miles per hour, not windy at all.
There's going to be 0 wind at all. I still think this game can get up and over the total. And it's not one of my favorite totals, but I did take it, and I'm going to make it official. It could get some fumbles, defensive scores, short field. I could see it, because I do think the defensive fronts on both sides can get after it a little bit. So force short fields for the offenses. So, yeah, over 43, minus 110 at Bet365. And I'm also on the side in this game. Look, and you said it, Jimmy, Baltimore's ravaged, absolutely ravaged. Marlon Humphrey, best corner. Their center, Linderbaum. You're talking about the running back room has got injuries. The defense as well. The O-line, Ronnie Stanley, that guy never can stay healthy. I mean, it's just endless with him. I mean, they've got injuries galore. 7 starters out, you mentioned it. And here is the difference that I make from Anthony Richardson, who's obviously not playing, to Gardner Minshew. Here's the point spread adjustment I make. Look at it. That's how big I make it. Nothing. Almost nothing. Anthony Richardson's going to be the better quarterback long term. We know that. And he's going to probably be a good player. But I'm talking about week 3 in his rookie season. I'm telling you right now, I would rather have Gardner Minshew as my quarterback than Anthony Richardson. In week 3 of his rookie season, Anthony Richardson's not a polished quarterback, and we're seeing it. He's making mistakes. He's holding on to the ball too long. He's made some good plays too, but right now he's not ready to be number 1 at his just yet. I am okay with Gardner Minshew at quarterback. The guy can play. Look what he did last week. Did you see that Colts offense skip a beat when he came in last week after Richardson got hurt against Houston? No, they kept on going. The guy can play. He's got the whole week now to get ready for this game. It's a tight game. It's a brutal spot for Baltimore. Cincinnati last week, another division game next week. And the Colts, I think, have what it takes to hang in this game. And I think they can avoid getting blown out. So I will go at Betway here, Jimmy. Indianapolis +8, minus 115.
I love that you're still with the Colts. +8, minus 115. Spenny with you on the over. And then you have Red Girl on the under, Dennis Garcia on the under. I guess I can stay off of the spot right now. There's no point, but let's get into your final spot on the board here. Cowboys, Cardinals at State Farm. Sadly, Trayvon Diggs out for the year. It sucks for football, really. I want to see how good this Cowboys team can be, because there's some great teams in the NFL. And when the Cowboys if we get the Cowboys Niners at their best, I mean, how much fun would that be for football? Zach Martin and Tyron Smith on the offensive line, both questionable. Same with their center, Tyler Biadazi. So Cardinals are pretty healthy right now. Fotu, their defensive lineman, is questionable. Carlos Watkins and Josh Woods, biceps and ankle, respectively, are out. Let's go over to the line history here for this one. I did move on the under in this one. This is sitting at 43.5. I got it at 44. It opened up at 44, immediately went down, but then it went right back up. So this actually did get up to, I never hit 44.5, actually, excuse me. But it was at 43 for most of this morning. It just got up to 43.5. Of course, those late moves do concern me, but I'm on the under here. And then spread-wise, it's sitting at a real 12.5 or 12. Pinnacle still got 13 showing at minus 123. So that's not a real plus 13 for Arizona. That opened up at minus 110. So 13 cents of movement towards the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals have been good. I wonder, though, with Trayvon Diggs out, if you're now giving, we talk about motivation. And when Miami Hurricanes were playing Temple, I was like, even though I saw the market move towards Temple, I was like, but this is Miami's first road game, and they have all the motivation. They've been playing better. Now they have this, let's go out there on the road for the first time this year. And I think maybe the Cowboys defense will have that same motivation with Trayvon Diggs out of the lineup. Maybe let's show them what we can do without Diggs. Let's hear what Bobano has to say about this spot. 42% of tickets, 63% of cash on the under, 81% of tickets, 73% of cash on the Cowboys. Take it away.
Yeah, I'm doing something I shouldn't say I don't often do it, but I looked into this. I actually did a little case study here. How have the double-digit road favorites done in the NFL like the last 10 years? They're like 58% ATS over that time. It's been really profitable, believe it or not, double-digit road favorites in the NFL. And I think this gets ugly for Arizona, even without Trayvon Diggs in this football game. And yeah, are you concerned? Yeah, maybe Dallas looks past Arizona, perhaps. But, I think Arizona, that second half is more against the Giants last week, is more what we're going to see from this football team moving forward. So I'm going to go with two Dallas bets here, Jimmy, too. The Dallas minus 12.5, minus 110, bet 365. Going to go with that. And I'm also going to go with Dallas team total over 27.5, minus 130 at bet 365 as well. I think they get 28 plus points. Their offense will move the football very effectively, especially on the ground. Arizona has been ripped apart at times on the ground. Tony Pollard should have a big day for the Cowboys. I think through the air, Dak Prescott and those receivers can do damage. And I know Arizona's offense was impressive, at least for a half last week against the Giants, but they faced the Giants, they faced the Commanders. This is a huge, huge step up defensively that they're going up against here in the Dallas Cowboys. So yeah, it's a double up Dallas for me. Team total over and minus 12.5.
I like it. When you have teams that are big favorites, the motivation is crucial. And I think with Trayvon Diggs out, there's motivation there. The Pub Sports Radio Circa Millions ticket has it on their ticket as well. Let's review Bobano's action. Last year's champion, Chargers +1 and over 53.5. Patriots money line, Packers money line and over 41.5. Speaking of which, we have bad news for Packers backers. Bakhtiari, Watson, Alexander, all confirmed out. Broncos, Dolphins. We didn't talk Broncos, Dolphins. Did I skip that accidentally? I must.
Yeah,
have.
we did. We did.
Oh my God, that's my fault.
Quickly. Yeah, that's all right. We'll go quick.
That's my fault. So sorry, Jose. Can we get back to the Broncos, Dolphins? That was my fault for skipping. We went right to Falcons, Lions. We got to move quick because Brizzy ready to rock. But Can you just let us know your action for Broncos, Dolphins? We'll set it up in the future.
Over the total in that game. I don't trust either. I really don't trust Denver's defense. And I actually have a small bet on Miami. I don't feel great about it with Waddle out. And I don't feel great about -6. I get that feel like Miami could be up by 7 or 10, and it's a backdoor touchdown in the final 2 minutes for Denver. Some garbage like that. So I don't feel comfortable. I got Miami in a bunch of teasers, but I don't feel comfortable at -6. I do like this game over the total. Over 47, -114 at Pinnacle. This Denver defense, I don't know if any defense in the NFL has fallen as much in the last year or so as the Broncos. Broncos defense fell apart late last year. They've been brutal so far this year. Washington went up and down the field. They couldn't hold a big lead against them. That's bad news against Miami. But I do think Denver and Russell Wilson and Peyton, as an offensive-minded guy, can do some damage here themselves offensively against the Dolphins defense, which is still okay, but it's not phenomenal by any stretch. So I like over the total in that game. Another thing that would concern me, though, about taking Denver is you got Fangio angle, right? Defensive coordinator, Miami, facing his old team. There's always an axe to grind, even though he'll never say it publicly. So let's see how that plays out.
You got it. Over 47 at minus 114. I'm sorry I didn't set that up. That was my fault. He's also on the over 46.5 in Falcons, Lions, over 43 in Colts, Ravens, and the Colts +8. And he's on the Cowboys minus 12.5 and the Cowboys team total over 27.5. Thank you for hitting lead off for us. As always, Bobano, go get that cash. Please follow Bobano at Bobano on X. And also check out Hitting the Books every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern alongside Connor Mack. Bobano, and he'll be with us live on the Monday Nighter, the Monday night doubleheader. He'll be on with us live. Thank you for all your hard work, Bobano. Talk to you soon, my friend.
Good to be with you, Jimmy. Everyone in the chat, let's make some money today. Enjoy your Sunday.
We move on to our next guest. He's been top 5 in both of the last 2 years. He's been number 1 overall at different moments for both of the last 2 years. He's been first in our NFL pop-up. Just a spectacular capper, ready to rock with us. He was here week 1. A couple bad bounces didn't go his way. Back for week 3 action. Please welcome from South Jersey, man making his home in West Virginia. We got Billy Brisbane on the show. Brizzy, how are you?
What a rookie mistake, but I'm feeling good. Nice little UFC card last night. If you're in the chat, make sure you get the books pulled up because we're going for the bookie's head. 3 different books, 3 different props, and light one up if you got one.
Let's go, Brizzy. I love it. Chargers, Vikings. We already set the game up. Both Bobano and I are on these Chargers. Same with Troy Torrance. What are you doing here? Chargers, Vikings. Take it away.
Yeah, it's cool to cash plus money props. We've been cashing some good plus money props on the streams and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, my job is to come on here and just bet winners. And we're going to the highest total game of this week's slate. And the Chargers secondary has just been torched by Miami and Tennessee, giving up 666 receiving yards this year, 4 touchdowns. And in week 1, Tyreek Hill got 2 in the back of the end zone. And Justin Jefferson has definitely been a target hog in this mini pass-heavy offense. And he's really lacked that red zone look this year. He's only got 1 end zone opportunity throughout the first 2 weeks, despite his box score numbers. He's going to find the back of the end zone this week. It's not rocket science. It's a fucking winner. Minus 105 on FanDuel. Justin Jefferson, find the back of the end zone, anytime touchdown. And then he's going to do the Gertie. You know how all the kids start dancing across the screen. Can't you just close your eyes and just see it now on your NFL red zone screen? Justin Jefferson just Gertieing across the field for a anytime touchdown prop as the Minnesota Vikings and Chargers play a battle of who doesn't give a fuck, man. Both of you guys suck.
Great. It's a great breakdown. It does seem plausible. It does all seem plausible. Let's move on to your next spot, Colts, Ravens. Another spot where Bobano and I agree on the Indianapolis Colts at +8. Not everybody in the chat did. Brizzy, take us home. What are you doing here?
Yeah, I usually wear my parlay boy hat, but I handed in my parlay boy hat last night on the UFC main event stream for the value boy hat, and we still have that value boy hat on because right off the number alone, this number is plus 195 on Barstool Sportsbook. On FanDuel, it's minus 115. On Caesars, it's minus 135. Bet Rivers is minus 125. Lamar Jackson, anytime touchdown, plus 195 at Barstool Sportsbook. By far the best number in the market. And if there's a chance to fuck over Dave Portnoy in any certain way, I will definitely do so. It just seems like, just compared to the other sports books, it doesn't feel right that Barstool has this number still left up here like this. But to get into the analysis side of things, Lamar Jackson may have seemed to turn over a new leaf. He hasn't really been running too much throughout the first couple of weeks this year. However, a couple of these attempts in the red zone today, I definitely think should be projected for Lamar Jackson. They have a really high team total. They don't have any red zone specialists. Flowers, while he's played well, and I'll be playing him in daily fantasy, I mean, he still was second to OBJ in red zone target share, and it felt like OBJ's been more worried about fucking the next Kardashian more than he's been worried about playing on the football field. And without Dobbins and Hill out there, Lamar Jackson is calling his own fucking number inside the 10-yard line today. I feel like defensively, the Ravens are still dealing with a bunch of injuries. 3 out of their top 5 secondary players are out. And then also a weather factor could be in play for this one. Tropical storms across the East Coast for this week's slate of games. So a lot of these games are going to be targeting more of like just off of those bad weather games. Don't play props in bad weather games, but with the wind gusts could be around 40 miles per hour or greater, it just seems like a perfect recipe for Lamar Jackson to do the vintage Lamar Jackson rusher the ground type of game. Do have some parlays to close out the Ravens. I think the Ravens are in a lit spot right here. The last time these two teams played in 2021, Lamar Jackson lit them the fuck up. And this is when Lamar really wasn't known to be a decent pocket passing quarterback. He had 442 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and an overtime win for the Baltimore Ravens the last time these two teams played.
Anytime touchdown, Lamar Jackson. I have no wind at all in Baltimore today.
No win?
Yeah, I like it goes down to 2 miles per hour. So this is the spot. I mean, there is going to be showers and rain, but I don't have, and I've looked it over a bunch of times. So, so that's the only thing. But I still really like how you've handled this, where you found the line, and your expectation of Lamar Jackson in the red zone when, clearly if, Gus Edwards is, they call it Melvin Gordon.
They didn't really make the play, just in case if people are scared off of it, or something like that. But no weather concerns. If it's just rain, I think that's even better. I mean, by Lamar Jackson throwing the ball down the field 40 yards in a weather game, I don't think so.
I like your spot. Makes sense. So we got a Lamar. This is available at Barstool right now. Anytime touchdown plus 195. Finally, for our guy, Brizzy, we talked Texans Jaguars. We haven't spoken about this game yet, so let's set it up. Everbank Stadium, Jacksonville, Florida, 88 Fahrenheit, sunny, 5 miles per hour. We got bad news for the Texans backers. A lot of us thought that Laramie Tunsil would be in the lineup. He is not. So that hurts. He didn't travel with the team. Also, we know that Stingley is with the hamstring injury has been placed on injured reserve, which hurts badly. We know that Jalen Petrie's out. Thank God Jimmy Ward expected to make his season debut. And, even with the Tunsil information, the line's been going towards the Texans all week. I could have got the 9.5 on Tuesday night, and I got cold feet and didn't move on it.
I'm right there with you. I was actually eyeing up and you know me, I don't really bet too many spreads and totals too often, but this was damn near about to hit my when you guys did the bankroll blitz on Tuesday. I was gonna bet the over 40. I think it was like 41.5 or something like that. So whatever the over was in this game, I ended up not playing the over and taking a nosedive on CJ Stroud in daily fantasy this week. CJ Stroud, we trust. I'm gonna have a lot of this game in daily fantasy.
This is total's gone from 45.5 to 43.5. It did get back up to 44.5 and then drop again to 43.5, which is where it is right now. Some books are hanging 7s on the spread. Pinnacle hanging a 7.5. This came down from 10. And from a cash flow scenario for this one, we have 63% of the tickets on the Jags and 19% of the cash. I mean, clearly the Texans are a sharp play, and I wish I was sitting here with a 9.5. But again, I did think that Tunsil would be out there. 74% of the tickets, 80% of cash on the over, and it's dropped 2 points. This is a very interesting spot here. Take it away for us here, Brizzy. Your last spot on the board: Texans, Jags.
Yeah, before we get into the playoffs, CJ Stroud actually not that bad. Like he's actually been good for our player props type of guys. But the player prop that I'm attacking for this game here is, would it be a sports betting show if we didn't go to the man that got suspended for sports betting last year? My man Calvin Ridley looked like a fucking beast in week 1 and then looked kind of shitty in week 2. I'm not going to lie, but he's coming off a downish week. But I still think last week confirmed that he's Trevor Lawrence's number 1 target. He only caught 2 passes off of 8 targets, but the week prior he had 101 yards and 8 catches for a touchdown. While we usually attack this Texans awful rush defense across the years. I mean, that was the only ticket that I cashed week 1 was the anytime touchdown prop against this rush defense. They're completely decimated in the secondary. They're without their top 2 cornerbacks. And without Zay Jones, I think the Jags are going to have a more consolidated target market share this week. And the Texans are 27th in the NFL in points allowed. Ridley finds the back of the end zone today, and Trevor Lawrence smashes in a very high-scoring, somewhat competitive backdoor cover here for the Texans.
Let's get it for you. Big happy birthday to Wine Time Sports. Happy birthday, Wine Time, my guy. Looking for a birthday pick? Absolutely. Give you the best, what we deem the best spot on the entire board. So what is official for you? Ridley, anytime touchdown?
Ridley, anytime touchdown, plus 130 at BetMGM in Pennsylvania.
And that is the only one that you are going to make official here.
Yeah, that's the only one I'm going to make official here. And then also to make official, they said, how confident are you in your plays? Motherfucker, I'm confident. We're parlaying all three of these bad boys up over on FanDuel at 11.52 odds for all three of these. Anytime touchdown, 1 o'clock slate only. We're going for the nail in the coffin early today, Jimmy. By 4 o'clock, I'm going to know if I'm a winner or a loser today.
I love it. So the parlay is official. Plus 11.52. Ridley, anytime touchdown. Lamar, anytime touchdown. Jefferson, anytime touchdown. You're the man, Brizzy. Thank you so much for making time for us, my guy. Quickly, we got to move very quickly, but tell us a little bit about the podcast that you got that we can see each week.
Yeah, make sure you guys go over to Spotify and check out the Locker Room Podcast, me, Millie Mills, and Big Show. And make sure you follow me over on X at Getting Bills. We've been red hot in the UFC octagon. I know it's an NFL show, but we're 9-3 over our last 11 plays over on X. And it's been plus monies.
Get that cash, Brizzy. Respect. Let's move on to our next guest. He is the producer of our show, making his season debut here in NFL Pub Hub. Placed 4th last year in our NFL Cappers contest. Let's see what he has in store for us right now. Please welcome Jose Bouquet to this show. Jose, how are you?
Doing well, Jimmy. Happy to be on the show again. Glad that I'm allowed back on this season after a disastrous showing last season. But it's nice to see your face, and hope everyone's doing well in the chat. Let's get after it today.
Let's get right after it. We've already set up the football game, so all we need to hear is how you're getting paid on it. New England Patriots, New York Jets. Take it away.
Yeah, I'll save the big long speech because I've learned on Wednesdays or whenever the Cappers contest show is now, all my days run together. That if I give a big long spiel on the Jets, everyone will just start fading me. So I'll just say I'm on the Jets plus 2.5, obviously. Zach Wilson and Mac Jones are the two worst starting quarterbacks in football. I think Justin Fields better than both of them because at least he can run. But I think both these guys are horrible. This is going to be an extremely, extremely low-scoring game. I also like the under as well, so you can make that official as well. The line has been dropping like a rock, so obviously I wish I got it earlier in the week, but I'll take it right now. But yeah, I think the Jets end up pulling this game out somehow, some way. A lot of Breece Hall, a lot of girding, as Billy wants to call it, I guess. But it'll be a lot of fun.
Jets plus 2.5 is even money at plus 100 right now at Will Hill. Plus 2.5 at plus 100. And we'll give you this under right now. This best under we can give you for this one. We've dropped to 35.5. There's still a hook over at BetChris and Bookmaker. So we'll give you the under 35.5.
And I'll put this out there now for Nasty Nate. I'll give you a grilled chicken bet right now, Patriots Jets. Let's go.
There you go. Next up for us, we have Bills Commanders at FedEx Field, 65 Fahrenheit, cloudy. Bills, a healthy group right now, while the Commanders are still only dealing with the Logan Thomas concussion that he suffered last game. Let's take a look at the line history. We haven't spoke on this one. I'm on the Commanders plus 6.5 after our Tuesday night show. This is now down to 5.5. It's just a minus 109 as well. If you want that minus 5.5 for the Bills right now, only minus 101 VIG. Go over to the total here for this spot. We have, get this up here. Sorry, here we go. The total sitting at 44. It opened up at 46. So this opened up at 46. It dropped all the way down to 42.5. This morning, we're talking an hour ago. You could have got the over 42.5 at minus 108. This has jumped up 1.5 points in the last hour. 44, sitting at 44 right now. And we get over to the cash flow for this Commanders spot. We have, sorry, give me a second. Here we go. We have right now 31% of the tickets, 36% of the cash on the Commanders. That's a nice place to be in. You also have 69% of the tickets, 55% cash on the over. Take it away for us here, Jose. Bills, Commanders.
You know what it is, Jimmy. You know what it is. Our left hand stays up. Left hand up, the Commanders here. I'll take him at the shittier line now that you got earlier this week, but I was right there with you. Earlier in the week, they're my Cappers contest pick as well. I believe in the Manders. I believe in Sam Howell. I've told you guys that Josh Allen's an overrated fucking loser. So left hand up, the Commanders.
Commanders plus 5.5 for Jose. Now we go back to this Texans Jaguars spot that we just set up with Brizzy. We heard Brizzy's plan. That is Calvin Ridley anytime touchdown. Take it away here. What is your plan for Texans Jags?
Yeah, I'm just riding the underdogs, I guess, today. So I'm going to be enjoying that, I guess. I'm on the Texans as well. I thought that Trevor Lawrence was going to come in and be an MVP candidate. So far, he's just come in and shit the bed. So I believe in a little bit of CJ Stroud. It'll be a slop-jalop game. D'Amico Ryan's good defensive coach. Obviously, shout out to my gas mask brother, Laramie Tunsil. By the way, tried that recently. Restrict your breathing. You cannot breathe in that thing. So I don't know how Laramie did it. So shout out to Laramie Tunsil. Again, maybe one day that picture will come up with me and I'll lose millions of dollars and fall in the draft as well. But I'll take the Texans here. Give me the dog here, and I think it'll be a closer game.
Plus 7.5 at minus 111. That high cost them $20 million. That high. Denver Broncos at Miami Dolphins, Hard Rock Stadium. The last spot on Jose's card before Pistol Pete Loshak looks to continue off of a perfect week 1 on this show, 3-0 in week 1. Jose, Broncos, Dolphins. We didn't set it up properly just because I accidentally skipped it with Bobano. So let's set it up properly here. I've come close all week to moving on the Broncos, and I just haven't been able to do it. First off, this total is sitting at 47.5. We had Nutflush and others talking about the high humidity that they're going to be dealing with here in Miami. It has dropped. Now, it dropped from 48 to 47, and then 11 or 12 minutes ago, it jumped to 47.5. So we had to move to the over 12 minutes ago. From a spread scenario here for this Broncos spot, we're dealing with a 6. This opened up at 6.5. And it stayed there until, when did it move to 6? It moved to 6. It didn't move to 6 at Pinnacle until this morning at 7 in the morning. So that's where we are right now. And then when we get over to the cash flow for this Broncos spot, we have, here we go. We have here we go. We have 53% of the tickets, just 31% of the cash on the Dolphins. I mean, it seemed like the Broncos are a sharp look all week. Ron Crawford's spreadsheet play today is 2-0 in NFL this year. He's on the Broncos. That's the spreadsheet play today. And from a total scenario, 30% of the tickets, 20% cash on the under. Take it away here, Jose. Your final spot on the board, Broncos, Dolphins.
I'm on the Broncos as well here. I hate Russell Wilson. I hate Sean Payton. I think they're a disgusting coach and quarterback combo. I think both are washed up and overrated, but the Dolphins have been getting too much love. Someone correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, but I believe the Dolphins are 2-0 against the spread and the Broncos are 0-2. So I'd like to see those spots as well. And like you mentioned, maybe 47% of the bets and 69% of the money on those Denver Broncos today. So I'll ride with the Sharps. I'll bet this disgusting ass swine franchise. And hopefully the New York Jets, I believe they play them next week and kick their ass. So Broncos plus 6 here. Let's ride.
Broncos plus 6 at minus 103. I can see Pete backstage, and it looks like
I'm excited to see where Pete is.
Where the hell is he? And what are those bright lights?
He's on the streets right now. I think we're about to see Pete on the streets.
He was in Atlantic City all weekend, and he was at a Kelsey Grammer meet and greet as well. That he'll tell us more about.
Wow, I'm very interested in that. I've never heard of that person in my life, but I'm very interested in that.
Broncos plus 6 at minus 103. Texans plus 7.5 minus 111. Commanders plus 5.5. What the hell? Oh, minus 109. And then there it is. Sorry. Did I do another? I've skipped another spot, haven't I? Jesus. We didn't talk Saints Packers.
I'm on the Saints. There we go. So we have to keep the pace up. So it's okay. I'm on the Saints. Shout out to my guy, Preston. He's the Saints guy. He fucking hates the Packers. It's a burning, burning hate. And I'm just supporting my guy, Preston here. The lines moved in their favor. All those fucking guys were out that we kind of expected all to be out. So give me the Saints and Derek Carr. Ugh.
Wow. With the announcement that Bakhtiari and Watson and Jones are all out, this is in that it's moved from +1 to -1 for the Saints. -1. See if we can get you a better line than that. We can't. Yeah. Yes, we can. Will Hill's still hanging at +1.
Grab it while you can, ladies and gents. Sorry for everyone behind me, but Go fuck yourselves.
There he is, Jose Bouquet here with Commanders plus 5.5, Saints plus 1, Jets plus 2.5 in the under 35.5, Texans plus 7.5, and Broncos plus 6. Thank you for joining us, Jose. We will see you again soon, my man. Thank you.
Yes, I'm excited for all the guests behind us as well. It's going to be a fun day. And by the way, I'm still on the over, Jimmy, of our side bet that we have here. The over is going to cash here soon.
We will see. We shall see. All right, let's move on to our next guest. He was perfect in week 1, 3-0. He's last year's winner of our Cappers contest at Pub Sports Radio, and he spent the weekend in Atlantic City. Who the hell knows where he is right now? Please welcome the host of the Peter Loshak Show, the aforementioned Peter Loshak. Pistol Pete, how are you?
I'm okay. After all these years, I can still pick winners, and that's what matters. That's the baseline of everything here, the foundation of it all, Jim.
It is the foundation of it all. Well, let's get started after your perfection here. We are curious where the hell you are.
Just in some fucking showroom, exclusive VIP access. I know some people, they let me do what I need to do. This shit doesn't hurt. This shit doesn't hurt. It doesn't fix everything, but it don't fucking hurt. And, we're in the sports book at Atlantic City, Tropicana.
At the Trop Sportsbook. You start with Colts Ravens. We've already set that game up. Pistol Pete, take it away, my friend.
This shit don't hurt. It doesn't buy happiness, but it buys a lot. All right, which game you want to talk about? Oh, the Colts Ravens. Yeah. All right. I took the Colts. I took the under. I don't know which one I like. It reminds me of the Texans game from week 1, where I also had the Texans and the under. And the closer we got to kickoff, the more I realized that the Texans was a play that I wasn't liking, and so I gave the under on the show. Thank God. This one, again, I don't want to take necessarily. I guess I know the line has moved. I like the under. I like the Colts. Who have you spoken to, Jimmy the Bag, about this game? You got anyone who's liking, anything on this notably?
Yes, I do, because Dennis Garcia and Red Girl are on the under, and I came close to moving on the under. But Spenny Penny Bombs and Bobano are both on the over, and Bobano gave it out.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I might be on the wrong side there. All right. I'll just give the Colts. I'll stick with the Colts. I know it's down to like 7.5 minus 115. At 7, I'd probably not take it. But the thing is, it just like when, like I said with the Ravens game, you have to know team tendencies, right, Jimmy the Bag, and we know what Harbaugh does when the Colts are a big favorite, especially when they got a bunch of injuries like now, and they get a big lead, they slow it down. You know what I mean? So if the Ravens are up big at the half or at any point during the game, I'd take a shot with the under live. You know what I mean? Because that's just what he does. Like, Harbaugh is very predictable. That's why you could bet on him in the postseason, year in and year out. Same deal with playing with a big lead as a favorite. Slows it down, and I think that's what's going to happen here. So I am a little bit worried about early scoring for the full game under. Definitely, if the Colts are up big, looking at a second half under, and definitely if the Ravens are up big, and definitely if the Ravens are up big at any point during the game, I would be thinking about a live bet on the under. But for this, for this purpose of this show, I guess I'll just take the Colts plus 7.5.
I'm very interested in the under still. It's gone up to.
It's probably a better bet live than pregame. You know what I mean?
I do. I'm gonna keep hemming and hawing. I apologize. All right, next up for us, Atlanta Falcons, Detroit Lions. I just bet this right before, about 30 minutes before the show started. I finally moved on the Falcons. Of all the leans that I had, I wasn't moving on. It was the lone bet I've made since Tuesday. I did take the hook, and I paid for it at minus 122. Let's take a. We've already talked about the line history here in this Falcons Lions spot. So all we need to hear is how you're getting paid. Take it away, Pistol Pete Loshak, Falcons Lions.
Right. Someone said I must be a millionaire. No, I didn't share the other side. That's a 5. This isn't all hundreds. That's a 5 on the other side. All right. This one, I do kind of like the Falcons. I bet it, but more so, I think that the Ritter rushing yards prop, or any of the Ritter rushing props are valuable. Quite surprised to see the total, the line as low as it was for him. Mobile quarterbacks tend to do very well, get a lot of yards against Detroit, and we know that's what's going to happen here with Atlanta. So I bet my best bet on the game probably be the Ritter rushing yards over prop, which I did bet I hit it, right around like 13, 15, 17 and a half. I'm not sure where it is right now. I'm assuming it got bet up, but I don't have a line on it right now. Do you have a current line on that? Ritter rushing yards over?
I will actually. Can somebody in the chat grab us that while I don't want to slow down here. Can somebody get us the Ritter rushing yards over prop right now, please? And is there anything else that you're? Is there anything else that you're adding to this?
No, I mean I do kind of like the Falcons here on the spread, but I bet it. I didn't use it in a contest though. And here we go at Pinnacle. Wow, 15.5. See, all right, that makes me nervous, but okay, that's at Pinnacle 15.5 makes me nervous. I think it's probably a good bet. Not happy that it's gotten down. I got 17.5 yesterday as another bet, so I hit it a few times. This might be a mistake, but that's my pick for this game, Jimmy the Bag.
And what's the juice associated with that 15.5?
Minus 113. That's the current line of Pinnacle, though.
All right, you got it. Over 15.5 rush yards for Ritter. He showed us something last week. I believe he went, I forgot, I don't have it in front of me, but I think 39. I think he went for 30, but he finally showed us something because we saw last year, we thought he was this dual threat. And last year, in the 4 games, 3 of them he had under 10 yards rushing. So there we go.
Right, but I'm guessing that strategically that they'll try to exploit that against the Lions here. That's a strategic guess. You know what I'm saying? A guess on strategy and game plans, because that's what the Lions tend to be vulnerable in that way.
Oh, I like it. Let's move on to the final spot here for Pistol Pete Loshak, coming to us live from the Tropicana in Atlantic City. Carolina Panthers, Seattle Seahawks, Lumen Field, Seattle, Washington. It's 60 Fahrenheit, cloudy. Depending on where you look, it says showers at 3 p.m. Pacific, but I went deeper to better AccuWeather hourly forecasts. And the way I see it, the showers are going to start really late and maybe after the game. So that's very important. We also know that Bryce Young is out, which is crucial information. We've already talked about the issues with Seattle and their offensive line. They actually have a ton of injuries right now. So Charles Cross, offensive tackle, defensive back, Kobe Bryant are both out. You got cornerback Reed Woolen with a chest injury and tight end Will Disley doubtful. And then Metcalf dealing with the rib injury. Safety Julian Love with the hamstring injury. Quandre Diggs with the hamstring injury. There's a cornerback there. Jamal Adams, we're still waiting. Is he going to make his season debut? Their nose tackle Jaron Reed with a groin injury. Their guard Philip Haynes with a calf injury. DJ Dallas is sick. We did hear there some rumors about his sickness going through a couple of these locker rooms. So that is Carolina and Seattle. And I came so close to moving on Carolina throughout the week. I probably have waited too long now. This total is sitting at 43. It opened up at 42.5. And from a spread scenario, we're all the way down to 4.5. Wow, all the way down to 4.5. This opened up at 6. The first move was actually moved to 6.5, and now we're all the way down to 4.5 here. We'll take a look at the cash flow for this Panthers Seahawks spot. Oh, I've gone too far. Sorry. Here we go. We have 42% of the tickets, 52% of the cash on the Panthers, 36% of the tickets, 83% cash on the under. And we know that this home field advantage is gone now. 17, 24, and 1 against the spread at home in the last 5 years, not including the pandemic year with nobody in the crowd. Take it away for us here, Pete. Your last spot on the board, Panthers Seahawks.
Just like everyone, I took the Panthers. Got a better number, I guess, than what it is now, although not necessarily. I've beaten a lot of numbers this football season and got shellacked on those bets in college football and NFL. But, obviously a letdown as a marquee starting, supposedly top-notch quarterback all of his career, but now coming in as a backup, as a dog against a vulnerable team, getting points and all of that. I think it's a good spot to back him. Long term, I don't know what to make of the quarterback, but Bryce Young. But in this spot, I am one of those people who would say it's probably an upgrade, addition by subtraction for the Panthers. And then on the other side of that, yes, I think it was pretty clear. It's been pretty clear so far this year that the shine is off of Seattle, Geno Smith, and all that. Not that they're not gonna win their games and have good bets and spots, but they're a team that I'm looking to in general fade right now, fade or pass. And so I took Carolina for my official play. If you don't mind, Jimmy the Bag, just to soothe my nerves. Give me 6 at minus 128, which is the current line at Pinnacle. I don't really want to take 4.5. 6 at minus 128 is a slightly worse bet than 4.5 at minus 103, which is the current line at Pinnacle. But just for my mental well-being, I do suffer from AIPP. I would like to take 6 plus this 128 Carolina Panthers.
You've got it. Pistol Pete joining us live from the Trop in Atlantic City. Colts plus 7.5. Ritter rushing over 15.5, and Panthers +6. Pete, we must mention this. It is Wine Time Sports birthday. Wine Time Sports birthday.
Oh, God.
Which
Oh,
means
my
we
God.
need, what is your single best look? I'll give him mine as well, but what is your single best look for our guy, Wine Time Sports?
On the fucking NFL card?
Yes.
Oh my God. If I'm really as great as I think I am, as I tell myself I am, a last minute birthday pick request that I wasn't expecting on an NFL card with the game's about to kick off should be something I can handle. No problem. Let's see. What will I give? Wine Time Sports. First about happy birthday. I definitely agree with Jose saying he likes the commies. I might give that at +5.5, even though I didn't give it in this show. I do also kind of think the Chiefs just roll. I do like the Raiders. I know that everyone is saying that maybe the Steelers had a tough first couple games. I think they're going to bounce back here. I don't like Raiders long term, but I like them in this spot. Oh God, you really put me on the fucking spot here, Jimmy's bag. That's okay.
Well, why
That's
don't you
no
take
problem.
a little bit of time while we play this?
You know what? Let's do it. Fuck it. Have a little bit of balls in life. That's what you got to have. Ritter, rushing yards, over 15.5. Obviously, if you can find a better line, bet that. But we'll go with that. I know he's gotten 1 yard rushing and 0 yards rushing in previous games. Got about 40 in his last game. We'll see what happens here. But there you go. Happy motherfucking birthday. Wine Time Sports. Hope you have a great day today. Hope you have a great month. Hope you have a great year. Ritter, rushing yards, over it. Whatever you can get, even currently available lines. That's your birthday pick. Wine Time Sports, baby.
We love you, Pistol Pete. Go have a great Sunday at AC, and everybody check out Pistol Pete Loshak Show 11 a.m. on Tuesday. We love you, Pete. Thank you for making time for us.
Don, thank you for having me.
There he is, Pistol Pete Loshak. Now we go from Atlantic City and we head up to New York. We head to New York for our next guest. He's making his season debut here with us on NFL Pub Hub. He was great last year on NFL Pub Hub, and we love capping with him. He's also one of the best comics in North America, stand-up comics North America. Please welcome Alex Pavone to the show. Pavi, what's good?
Jimmy, what's shaking, buddy? It's been too long, man. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
It is great to see you here, Pavi. Let's get right to work. We go to Denver Broncos and Miami Dolphins, Hard Rock Stadium, Miami Gardens, Florida. Take it away, man. How you getting paid?
I'm going to be like everybody else here, and I'm going to take Denver in this spot. Not sure why. They've looked like absolute trash the first 2 weeks. Peyton and Wilson can't get on the same page, but 90% of the money over here, 85% of the money, it looks like is on Miami. And why wouldn't it be? They're getting a touchdown over this horrific Bronco team. This is a contrarian play for me, and I'm just fading the cash, and I'm just fading the team that has looked great and the team that's looked horrific. I'm tailing them. And also, what's up with Jose's negative energy, calling people swines? The guy's sitting in the backyard. There's weeping willows behind the guy. He has so much hate in his heart. Tell him to calm down. It's Sunday.
It's been a rough week for him in baseball. Really tough week.
Okay,
Yeah, it's been tough on him. He has a new nickname, a reverse sweep Ramon, and it happened in back-to-back days. So it was it's been tough on the young guy. Very, very
okay, I'll let him off the hook on this one. But that's my play for the Bronco game. Am I worried? Absolutely, because it's still week 3. And I'm still trying to get my bearings, but it looks like, that play jumped out on me. Obviously, like anybody who does this professionally, they're going to see that line and be like, oh, here it is. Here's the play. So let's see how Russ can respond.
Let's move on to your next spot. Colts, Ravens, M&T Bank Stadium, Baltimore, Maryland. We've been talking about this total back and forth, but all of us seem to be on the same side on the spread. Not everybody in the chat, but everybody on screen. Take it away for us here, Colts, Ravens.
Yeah, I was in between either the Colts or the Texans today in this spot, but I figured that, Minshew's in, right? He's playing today,
Yes,
correct?
Yep.
I actually feel more comfortable with him than I do with Anthony Richardson, especially not long term or anything like that. I just feel like 7.5. Minshew has proved that, you're down 14, you're down 10 within the last 2 minutes, and there's that ability for a backdoor cover. I trust Minshew in those spots, and that's why I picked the Colts over the Texans. I don't think the Texans have the offense to cover that backdoor spread. But I know one of those two are going to cover, and I just went with the Colts, and I do like the under too. I think it opened at 44.5, and now it's at 43.5. I could be wrong, but I definitely like the under. And the Ravens are also they play the Browns next week, right? So big win last week against the Bengals. They play the Browns next week. They're coming in. They play Indy now with a backup quarterback. It could be a look ahead spot for them. I like, I got it 7.5 at 7, probably off the Colts, but I like the Colts in this spot.
Did you want to make the under official as well?
No, I don't.
Okay. Colts, Ravens, Colts plus 7.5 for Pavi. Next up, we have a game we haven't spoken about yet. People afraid of this spot. Tennessee Titans at the Cleveland Browns. We're at Cleveland Brown Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio. Let's take a look at the line history and the injury issues because we haven't brought this one up. First off, I got the under 39.5 on Tuesday night. It is down to 38. Which is a good sign. Now, it was down to 37.5 this morning. It just moved back up to 38 about 30 minutes ago, about 25 minutes ago. From a spread scenario here, 3s and 3.5s have been bouncing back and forth. And this is a 3.5 at Pinnacle. The plus 3.5 for the Titans at times got juiced up to minus 118 and minus 119, minus 120, but now it's right back at minus 110. Cleveland minus 3.5 is even money. I got the feeling all week that when it was at 3, that the Browns were getting hammered, and when it was at 3.5, that the Titans were being bet.
100%.
Hammered, but being bet. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one as it hasn't come up yet on the board. 68% of the tickets are on the Titans, but just 50% of the cash. Then 71% of the tickets and 93% of cash is on this under. This Titans run defense is so strong, but their injury issues in the secondary just are never ending. Just like last year, same thing here this year. And we have DeAndre Hopkins questionable on wide receiver, but Danico Autry, defensive tackle, and Tart, knee injury, defensive tackle, both hurt, questionable. Then we have Anthony Kendall, their cornerback, hip injury. And we have Peter Skoronski, abdomen guard, hurt, and his replacement was awful last week. For the Browns, their offensive tackle, James Hudson, is out, questionable. Greg Newsome, and of course, Chubb not going to be around for the rest of the year. Take it away for us here, Titans, Browns, Pavi.
Everything screams Titans in this spot. Cleveland's coming off a short week. Like you said, they lost Chubb. The Titans coming off a big win against the Chargers. Vrabel, you got to put him in the circle of trust as one of the best coaches in the NFL. So everything screams Tennessee. I'm taking Cleveland. When things just go the other way all the time, I love the contrarian play. And also, all the money, most of the money's on Tennessee here, or most of the picks, are on Tennessee. So the public is on Tennessee. When the public's on a dog, red flag for me. I think this is just a good spot for Cleveland. Their defense is solid. Tough loss last week. I was on them last week too, and it was just a tough loss. It was an unfortunate fumble for Deshaun Watson. I think he's going to take better care of the football this week, not screw it up right there in the fourth and, cause a loss for his squad. But I think Cleveland comes back into this game right. And, it sucks not having Chubb. Obviously, he's one of the best running backs in the NFL. But I think losing him in the middle of that game too screwed with their heads. And now they have a full game going into, or a full week going into this game to realize that he's not going to be in the lineup. And I just like Cleveland in the spot. I like him at 3. I got him at 3. I got him at 3 minus 118, I think.
It's a little more expensive, but we can still get you the 3.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to take him at 3.5, but I'll take him at 3.
Absolutely.
There's no way. I'll sprinkle a couple extra bucks here. I'm not Loshak. Is that his name? I don't have the cash like him, but I'll chuck a couple bucks on that.
All right, minus 124 is the best line right here. Ronnie and Bergia liking your spot with the Browns. Let's move on to Patriots Jets. We already heard Jose Donkey Fingers Bouquet on the New York Jets. What is your plan here?
I can't believe I'm with the Donkey Man. I like the Jets, bro. I think I've just been hearing so much stuff in the media about Belichick and how he's 0-2 and he can't lose this one. And I just feel people are going to auto bet the Pats. This is a divisional game. The 2.5 spread is the most greasy line in betting. I will take every plus 2.5 blindly. Always. So I think the Rams are plus 2.5 this week. I think I would have took Pittsburgh, but that went up to 3. But there's something about 2.5 that just they're begging you to take the Patriots. They want you to take the Patriots. The Jets are horrific. They're not horrific. Their defense is fantastic. Zach Wilson, my apologies, is horrific is bad. I don't want to say horrific. This is a professional athlete. I should have respect for people. I'm not going to say horrific. But when you have money on the Jets, it feels horrific when he has the ball in his hands. Last year, these teams played very, very competitively. The Pats had a tough time moving the ball against the Jets. I believe they won on a punt return last year. So the Jets D really does a good job with this Pats team against this Pats team. So I just like the Jets in this spot. Getting that 2.5, man. What a shady line. A lot of my I just look at these numbers and I go, they want you on this one. So I'm going the other way. And I like the Jets. I don't know what Jose said. I missed that. Had I heard his logic, I'd probably be off the Jets. But here we are. Sorry, that's 2 digs at the kid now. I feel bad.
Jets plus 2.5 at minus 105 here. Let's move on to your final spot on the board, Patty. Falcons, Lions. I just moved about 2 hours ago on the Falcons. Finally, I paid the cost for the 3.5, paid the cost for the hook here. A lot of injury issues, and I love Okuda coming back for the Falcons. A lot of injury issues for the Lions. What's your plan here, Falcons, Lions?
Yeah, I'm with you. I would have bought the hook too. I'll take them at 3 I'll take them at 3. But buying the hook is smart. I like the Falcons in this one. They're coming off a big win. They're feeling themselves. I think people are just going to blindly back Detroit coming off that loss to Seattle. And, people still have that Detroit KC opening day win in their mind. And a lot of people think Detroit's, going to win the NFC North. They have a lot of respect for this Lions team. So coming into this game, I think they're just going to, under a field goal to beat the Falcons. People are going to be all over the Lions. And I think the Falcons are a good team, man. Ritter has his issues. But last week against a good Packer defense, I know they're hurt now, but last week they were good. He showed up in the second half and he was pretty good. He missed a couple early throws in the first half, but he really did respond. They got a good running back. He's a good young running back. They got some pieces, and the Falcons, they win this game. They're 3-0, are they not? This is an early surprise team in the league, and I wouldn't step in front of the Falcons right now.
Wise guys were all over the Falcons win total season over. It moved from 7.5 to 8.5. That's a big move.
And the Lions are dealing with injuries as well. I mean, this opened at 6, and then it went down to 3. I wish I could have put that in, earlier Tuesday or something, but it is what it is. I'll still ride with them, especially 3.5. I don't usually buy the hook, but I think fine investment there, Jimmy.
You can make it 2 because it's gone down 3 cents even in the last 2 hours. We'll go over it. It opened up any lines, any books that came out with this line after both teams had finished playing. Opened this at 4. If you wanted the look ahead spots, you could have got 6, but that wasn't from for anything after Sunday. Here, Pavi, the plus 3.5 minus 119 at Pinnacle. The plus 3 is plus 103.
No, 3.5, 19 cents.
Yeah.
What's that going to break my back here, Jimmy? What are we doing?
I like it. 3 cents better than what I got. Here we go, Pavi. Before I review your action very quickly, where can the fans of Pub Sports Radio see you on stage next?
I'm going to be in Madison, Wisconsin on October 5th to 7th, and I'm going to be in Las Vegas, I believe the 21st, 22nd weekend. I'm opening for Steph Tolev, one of the funniest comedians in the world right now. Bill Burr's favorite comedian. So I get to tour with her, and I'm going all over the place. So I'll be in Madison, Wisconsin, and I'll be in Las Vegas in October. So I'm looking forward to that.
I love it. I love it, Pavy. Pavy's on the Broncos +6 at -105. He's on +7.5 with the Colts at -110. He's on the Browns -3 at -124. Jets +2.5 -105. Falcons +3.5 at -119. Thank you for joining us, Pavy. Get out there and get the cash, Pavy. Go get paid, Pavy.
Good luck, Jimmy. See you, buddy. Thank you.
Great to see you. Great to see you. All right, we are sitting here. We are 3 likes away from 100. I will pull out the bottle of Kraken if we get to 100. Like the show, and we will have a goddamn drink. Let's move on to our next guest. Not only is he making his season debut here on NFL Pub, but he is also making his show debut here on NFL Pub Hub. You may have seen him win our poker contest, our poker tournament over at Bet Online. He was the winner, and he got free entry into our NFL Cappers contest. And he's here to rock with us right now. Half of the highly thought of Earl Sports Brother team. Please welcome Tim Earl to the show. Tim, how are you?
I'm doing good. It's football Sunday. I'm excited for it.
It is very, very exciting, Tim. We're happy to have you. Let's get right to work, Tim. You start with Texans Jags. What's your move? Everbank Stadium, Jacksonville, Florida.
Let's do it. First game, I kind of looked at this one. Where's Jacksonville get to go play next week? London. This is a look-ahead spot for them. Now, I'm not going to go after the Texans because I don't trust the Texans yet. I want to see a little bit more out of C.J. Stroud and a little bit more out of that offense. I'm going with the under. I could see the Jacksonville Jaguars having a little bit more of a vanilla game plan, just trying to get through this game, win, move on. Don't play anything crazy because they might want to save a couple of tricks for a primetime game in London. And I don't trust Houston's offense just yet. Houston's defense has looked decent over the first couple of weeks. And whenever we get a divisional matchups always seem to be dogfights, and they always seem to be more towards the under. So starting it out, we're going to go under the 43.5 for Houston and Jacksonville.
Will Hill is the last book hanging at 44, so we'll give you that under 44 -110 as this market has been moving in your direction. And unfortunately, starting now at 12:22 p.m. Eastern, you're going to get a worse line. So we're happy to give you that under 44 at -110. Tim Earl is on the board. Next up for Tim is Panthers Seahawks at Lumen Field in Seattle, Washington. I looked at it for a long time trying to figure out, and I went over a bunch of different sites about weather here. I still think that if the showers start, it's going to be pretty late in this football game and possibly after the game, even though some sites say it's going to start raining at 3 o'clock. I have just 25% precipitation at a bunch of different sites at that time. Take it away for us here, Tim. Panthers, Seahawks.
Yeah, this one's probably the one that a lot of people are on because I was listening to a little bit. I'm on the Panthers as well. I will say I got a 6.5 earlier in the week. So the line has definitely moved a lot in my favor. And I actually really like that it is Andy Dalton now instead of Bryce Young. So we didn't see a lot from Bryce Young through the first couple of weeks. We know Dalton's a veteran. He's been there, done that. I think he's going to have a good week. And Seattle is one of those teams that I wasn't too super high on coming into this year. Geno Smith coming off a big contract. That's always a negative look towards one of those guys. I think Carolina has a shot to win this one outright and get their first win of the season. But that 5.5, I use that a lot for my capper contest. The Panthers are one of my capper contest picks. And I use that 5.5 dog number a lot. And normally they're pretty good. So I'm going to be riding with the Carolina Panthers. You can get them +5, money line, either one. I think they can win outright in this game.
Panthers +5 still available at Will Hill -110. Let's move on to your final spot on the board. And we haven't talked about it yet, although we will be talking about it now and for a couple other cappers here on the show. Let's go. Pittsburgh Steelers at Las Vegas. Raiders were at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. Both teams are, generally healthy. It's just Gunnar Olszewski hurt out with a concussion for the Steelers, and defensive end Tyree Wilson sick and questionable for the Raiders. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. At this point for me, the only addition I'm close to is I feel like I've kind of slipped and missed the boat on the Panthers. but I really like what everyone on them. But the only one I'm close to is that under still in the Colts game. Here we are sitting at 3s now for Las Vegas. Now you can still get a 2.5. It'll cost you something. It costs minus 122 over at Pinnacle. But Las Vegas opened up as a dog, and they're now minus 2.5 point favorites. It makes me so uncomfortable that the Pub Sports Radio Circa Millions ticket, they added the Pittsburgh Steelers. It made me angry, in fact. Not that I'm on the Raiders, but I do think that when a team goes from dog to favorite, there has to be some sort of respect given to this market move, and none was given on our Thursday Cappers contest show. This total opened up at 44 and is now at 43.5. Let's get over to the cash flow then for this spot and see what we are dealing with. This is our big Sunday night live stream right here, and I can't wait for it. At this point, we have 72% of tickets and 95% of the cash on the under. So why isn't it not moved? I'm on the under in this game. Why is this not sitting at a 42.5 with all this money on the under? It makes me very uncomfortable. And then we have a 50-50 sort of a split. I mean, only 46% of tickets and 57% of cash are on the Raiders, and the lines move this much. I mean, that has to be respected, I believe. Nate Dogg liking the Raiders. What are you doing here? Steelers, Raiders. Take it away, Tim.
One of the things I love to do in the NFL is use recency bias and go against it. What was the last things that we just saw from these two teams? Raiders blown out. Didn't even look competitive against the Buffalo Bills in that game. And we just saw the Pittsburgh Steelers win in a divisional game in prime time. So I was all over the Raiders. I do like this Raiders team. I think I have their win total over. It was kind of a little bit low. I know they had their schedule was kind of favorable to it. And from the start, I was not high on the Steelers. I think the Steelers finished last place in that division. The big thing is I love fading the recency bias. That's kind of my big thing there. I think the Raiders is the right spot in this one. And the fact that it moved from a dog to a favorite tells me everything. Two-time Super Bowl champion Jimmy Garoppolo, I think, is going to have a good time today. And I'm low on the Steelers team. Steelers scored the same amount of points on offense and on defense last time. I think Jimmy G is able to keep the offense more on the field for the Raiders and the defense for the Steelers a little bit quieter after their big game last week. Give me the Raiders. I'll take the -3. Don't matter.
Well, it's up to you because you can pay for the 2.5. So let me just give you the option here. I'm right on Pinnacle site right now. So let me give you the option here for the Raiders. This is our Sunday nighter. You can have the 2.5 at -122 or the -3 at +101.
-3. The only thing I'm giving up is a push.
Yeah, no, I feel you. -3 at +101. Tim Earl making his Pub Sports Radio NFL Pub Hub debut right here, right now. He's given us the under 44 in Houston, Jacksonville. He's given us Panthers +5 at -110. Keep in mind, he got that at 6.5. And he's on the Raiders -3 at +101. And our guy BJ got in early on the Raiders. And look at this, a 10-unit max bet for BJ. I've never seen him drop a 10 unit. I've seen 5 is the most he's ever dropped. Raiders +1 for BJ. So, Tim, you are in good company. K. Phil giving us a final score of 16-13. And we have action from Ragu. He's on Colts first half money line +225. Houston, Jacksonville first half under 21.5 at -105. And the Buccaneers +5. Thank you, Ragu, for sharing that. Mark Unkefer, great to see you back in action. Tim Earl, we got to be quick and tight here. We have our next guest ready to rock. But can you please tell us a little bit about what's going on over at Earl Sports Bets?
Everything. College football, we always have. MLB's getting towards the end of the season. NFL, and then we're not too far away from NHL and NBA starting up. So lots of sports, everything going on over there at Earl Sports Bet. So let's get it.
I love it, Tim. Thank you for making time for us. Go 3-0, and we'll have you right back. You sweep the board, we'll have you right back next week.
Let's do it.
There he is, Tim Earl. Thank you for the likes. We asked you to add to them, and you guys did. I said if we hit 100, I would do a shot. We've hit 134. This is to you guys. Thank you so much for your support of NFL Pub Hub and everything we do here at Pub Sports Radio. We truly have nothing without your support, and you guys make this channel run. Thank you so much for supporting us. Let's fucking go. Oh, Jesus Christ. All right. Let's bring on your next guest, making his season debut right here on NFL Pub Hub, a huge part of our channel. The star of Medicate Mondays, every Monday at 11 a.m. Here to rock and roll. Please welcome we got two cappers from Las Vegas, Nevada, back to back. Please welcome from Vegas, Dutch Boy Fresh. Dutchy, how are you?
Jimmy the motherfucking bad. Salute to you and all the real ones holding us down on Wi-Fi, man. It's all love, bro. How we
Dutch,
doing?
I know you had a late night. Thank you so much for still making time for us. It means a ton to us. Let's go. Broncos, Dolphins, Hard Rock Stadium. Your Broncos in effect. Your Broncos liked by the Sharps and the Wise guys. Are you on your Denver Broncos? Take it away.
Yeah, man. I am on the Broncos. First half, Jimmy, 3.5. You can say an awful lot about the Denver Broncos. Russ ass really ain't cooking, but he had his best first half last week. The Broncos actually had their best first half since in about 20 years, I believe. And it's been around 2003 they had a first half that way. They scored on their first 3 drives, touchdowns. And if you've seen Russ, he was putting the ball in the spot. That deep ball looked real good. Looked kind of like Russ, the old Russ we seen in Seattle. But it don't last long. It settles down, and that offensive line falls down a little bit, and he starts hesitating. He thinks that 1 second too long, and that 1 second is costing Russ. Might cost him his career. Honestly, I don't think he'll be in Denver too much longer. But I do like the first half here. They've been up both games, not only against the Raiders, against the Commanders. They were up 21-3 at half. I do think that they will fall apart in the second half. The offensive line kind of falls down a little bit. Russ seems to think way too fucking much. He's got to stop thinking so much. Just play fucking football, bro. And the defense, I believe I tuned in just real quick early. I heard Bobano breaking down that the defense isn't the same. We traded away Bradley Chubb last year. We keep missing guys and just keep replacing them. Our linebacking core is weak. Our secondary isn't the same. PS2 is a fucking stud. Don't get it twisted. But outside of that, we're pretty light in the secondary. But from the Dolphins' perspective, they traveled week 1 to LA. Then they had a massive game in New England Sunday Night Football last week. I believe they're a little, I don't want to say they're tired, but I believe they could be a little bit lackluster to start this football game. I do believe they're the better football team. I do believe no Waddle will be big for the Dolphins as well. So I can see why the Sharps like the Broncos full game. But I don't like what I've seen the second half against the Raiders and especially against the motherfucking Commanders. So the Broncos first half minus 3.5 is good money to me. As I mentioned, they are 2-0 ATS, being up in both games and losing both games at home. They do go on the road, the first game on the road. Maybe it brings the boys together a little bit. We'll see how it rock and rolls. I do expect the Dolphins to win this football game, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Broncos are up at half. So the 3.5 is good money.
You got it. Broncos first half plus 3.5 at minus 106. Let's move on to the next spot. We're going to hear a different take on it from Dutchy. Chargers, Vikings at US Bank Stadium. Take it away, Dutchy.
Yeah, man. I mean, I respect all you motherfuckers. I just don't understand why all this love for the Chargers. Really, I believe they're pretty soft, and we can say the same thing about the Vikings. Honestly, I look at these two teams and I see damn near the same fucking team. I'm gonna take the team that's 0-2 at the crib, at the house. Obviously, the Chargers are 0-2 as well. But they've had a tendency to struggle on the road in the past. They're 2-5 straight up last 7 on the road. They do also have the Raiders on deck. And to me, this kind of fits in perfect for the Vikings. You have a team in the Chargers that can't stop anybody. I mean, Tim Tebow might come out here and throw for fucking 300 yards against the secondary. They're dead awful. They're 32nd in passing yards allowed. And then you turn around and you look at let's look at something, that kind of shines on the Vikings. And it's the fucking passing game. Say what you will about Kirk Cousins, but they're number 2nd in the league in passing yards. They have the Justin Jefferson, obviously the stud. They got the Addison kid from USC. They're still trying to work in. And then, of course, we know Hawkinson, the biggest pay tight end in the league. They did get my boy from FSU. Shout out to the Seminoles getting that W yesterday. Akers, big. I think this is a nice pickup. We don't know if we'll see too much of him, but they're definitely missing Dalvin Cook. So bringing in Cam Akers, I believe, will give him a little bit of juice. Maybe not so much on Madison. The Vikings have won 7 straight games, versus the AFC as well. I just think this is pretty much a must-win spot here for the Vikings at home. I don't think they start the season off 0-2 at the crib. They've usually been, in the past have been I would say, a bet on team at the crib. I think this is a very close game, so the line tells that as well. I lean home team here. I'm going to go ahead and make it official. The Vikings win this football game.
Minus 107. I'm extremely nervous about my Chargers action. Not that I think I have the wrong side, just that this feels coin flippy. It feels like it's going to go down to who has the ball last, and I can understand taking the home team in this, and the fact that I've got to rely on Staley, makes me want to throw myself through it.
Yeah, I actually might have I think I have the coaching edge. I'm not big on this guy from the Vikings either, but I think Staley's 1 foot out the door already, bro.
Oh, God. All right, let's move on to the next spot on the board. Another contentious spot, Saints Packers at Lambeau. We just had the announcement that
my bad, Jim. I don't want to cut you off, bro, but I'm not betting this game anymore.
You're going to cut it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My analysis was based off Aaron Jones in this game. I thought he would be the difference maker. I thought he'd be the best player on the field. I'm not going to make it official on the show.
No, that makes sense, and it's important. It's very, very important here. And by the way, Frankie Machado, seeing when you make a move on bets and all that is so crucial. So that's all great. And then Frankie Machado saying that Chargers flew from east to west back to East Coast.
Yeah.
I don't know if we call Vikings East Coast, but I hear what you're saying. A lot of travel. Let's move on to the next spot because we have back-to-back player props from Dutchie, which is his bread and butter in NFL. Bills Commanders at FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland. We have spoken about this game already. We've touched on the lack of injury issues from both squads, although Logan Thomas is out for the Commanders. And it's 65 Fahrenheit, cloudy, 5 miles per hour, and we've had this move towards the Commanders all week. Take it away here. What's your player prop for Bills Commanders?
Yeah, man. I like where you're looking at with the Commanders. I just can't really get to the window with it, but I do think it's a solid play. But yeah, man, it's Bills Mafia for me with the stud. It's the stud. To me, I think he's the best thing going. Talked a lot of shit again on him week 1, and he does need to take care of the football. It's not backyard football, Josh. Come on now. Let's play like we really in the league every fucking play. I believe we've seen that against the Raiders. It was, kind of just JV versus varsity in that motherfucker. The Bills were on another level. It was a clear Bill spot last week. This game, a little tougher. I think this game will be a little bit more competitive, like week 1 against the Jets. But I like Josh Allen here. I like him on his rushing props, and I like him at anytime touchdown. I got this a couple days ago. I believe it went down. Might not be able to get this now. Might be down closer to 170, but I got plus 190 anytime touchdown. This motherfucker has 38 rushing touchdowns in his career. Hasn't touched the paint yet this year. Really didn't have to do anything last week. Just tossed it around. Threw for 4 touchdowns. Really didn't run the ball whatsoever. I'm also going over 30.5, minus 135 rushing yards. A little bit juiced here, Jim, but everywhere else it was like 32.5. So I paid it at William Hill. Over 30.5 rushing yards, minus 135. I mean, he's 6'5", 250, man. He's still the best thing going. I know James Cook's looked real nice these first 2 weeks. But don't get it twisted. Josh Allen's still the best runner they got. And I believe he ran for 36 yards week 1. Didn't, as I mentioned, really didn't even have to do anything last week. I believe it'll be a more competitive game. He'll have to use his legs against the Commanders defense. That's pretty damn good, honestly. And I like this kid, Howe. So I think he'll go kind of blow for blow with them. It'll be a good competitive game. I like over 30.5 rushing yards and anytime touchdown, plus 190. He'll have 39 after the day. Believe that.
Locked and loaded, the double up on Josh Allen. Now we move on to a game we haven't spoken of. Very thankful that you have it on your card. Our guy Dutchie moving on the player prop variety, but let's break it down. Bears, Chiefs, Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City, Missouri. They are, reasonably healthy. I mean, if you look at the Chiefs, it's just linebacker Nick Bolton and wide receiver Richie James that are out. Pacheco and Tony and Willie Gay are questionable. For the Bears, we know it's their secondary is a big problem and how everything changed when Kyler Gordon broke his hand. Even though he was bad last year, I mean, this guy, first-round draft pick, and everything changed when he got hurt in week 1. And then they have Eddie Jackson, who they need badly, out or doubtful at this point with a foot injury. Khalid Kareem, linebacker, out with a hip injury. We haven't spoken about this game. I am on the Chiefs -7 first half. I got that at -108. I got that Tuesday night. This total right now is sitting at 48.5. It opened up at 50. It got down to 47. So this was 47. We have to go back to Monday. as of Monday night, it moved to 48, which is where it's been until it went up to 48.5, and it went up to 48.5 yesterday. Oh no, I take that back. Excuse me. Sorry, it went up to 48.5 on Thursday. Okay, so that's the total from the line history spread situation here. Let's move over here. We have these Chiefs at minus 12.5. Bovada's just moved it to minus 11.5. And I don't want to have big favorites. But if I'm going to take a big favorite, I want to know that they're motivated. That's it. I just need to know that they're motivated. And, we talked about, the easiest example from yesterday is the Miami Hurricanes going out on the road. It's their first road game. So we know they're motivated. We know that you talk about Oregon as a huge favorite over Colorado. They were fucking motivated because Dion was coming into town. The whole sports world wants to talk about what Dion's doing. So that's why if I see a big favorite, are they motivated? The Chiefs' offense has been abysmal. All that's happening is Mahomes dealing with comments about how bad the offense has been, how bad, and I think this is a chance for them to be motivated and to get right. Take it. Oh, and just for the cash flow for everybody to know on this spot here, we have. Here we go for the cash flow. 21% of the tickets and 39% of the cash on the Bears. That makes me nervous, but I'm only on the first half. I just need the offense to be right in the first half. And then from a total scenario, you have 52% of tickets, 71% cash on the under. And we've all cashed a ton of Chiefs unders when they're way ahead. We know they slow the whole game down. So a live under is something I'll be staring at all day. Take it away for us here. Dutchie, your last spot on the board, Bears Chiefs.
Yeah, man. Shout out to our guy, Sweaty Bridger, Mr. Exotic. Seconding what you said here about the Chiefs spot, clear spot here. Yeah, man. I mean, shit. The way the Bears made Baker Mayfield look like the best thing going. I mean, Patrick Mahomes should have a motherfucking field day. So, I believe someone asked me earlier, last night actually, who would I take with the biggest favorites, whether it be the Cowboys or the Chiefs? I think it's clearly the Chiefs if I had to make a play here. But I'm looking the other way, man. I'm looking at someone who's obviously been kind of through the media a little bit here. I'm looking at someone who I believe is, very talented. Definitely a talented runner. All right. And nowhere near the level of skills with the arm that Mr. Mahomes has. But this boy can run the motherfucking football. And I believe he'll do his thing. After kind of running his mouth, saying some things maybe he shouldn't have said, maybe he should have thought before he spoke. But I feel like his coaches are still with him. I mean, this is still his football team, and this kid is still, needing to improve, still needing to put in the work. But I think he'll respond quite well today. Not realistically in the winning category, but I do believe he'll put up some numbers, and that's Justin Fields. Anytime touchdown plus 150. Obviously he said some things. Just play his game. Well, he's got to stand the fuck up. He's better man the fuck up, and he's got to show these boys that he could do some things. Because he's looked like complete ass week 1 and 2, but we've seen him have some really good football play some really good football last year, especially running the football. I do believe he's the best running football quarterback in the game, and we could talk about that with Lamar. We can go back and forth with that. But he does have 10 total rushing touchdowns. He did get in the paint last week. But he had a horrible fucking game, man. And he only had 4 attempts for 3 rushing yards last week, Jimmy. I was going to go on his rushing prop. I believe it's kind of sharp at 58.5. I believe he'll get, I believe he will get over that, but I definitely believe he gets a touchdown at plus 150. I think, obviously, the Chiefs will score. A lot of people think it's a get right spot. You mentioned it. I think the Chiefs will put up numbers. I think Justin Fields will have numerous attempts to not necessarily be in the red zone, but definitely have the ball and drive. And it might come in wash up time. I hope I don't got to wait till the fucking fourth quarter to get this motherfucker. But we're going to get it. Justin Fields, anytime touchdown, plus 150. It's good money.
Dutch Boy Fresh is locked in. Fields touchdown at plus 150. Josh Allen touchdown plus 190. Over 30.5 rush yards for Josh Allen. Then we have Vikings minus 107 and Broncos first half plus 3.5 minus 106. Dutch, I know you're working so hard. Thank you for making time for us this morning with the early start on the West Coast. It means a ton to us. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
and Medicate Mondays is 22 hours away. We are 22 hours away from Medicate Mondays. So pick out the strain and get that cash because these guys have been absolutely monsters on Medicate Mondays. Monday, 11 a.m. Eastern here on Pop Sports Radio. Any last words, Dutchie, my man?
I appreciate you, Jim. When you got the text, man, I said, let's make it happen, bro. I didn't go to sleep till probably about 4 a.m. this motherfucking morning. But we're going to make it happen. It's going to be a profitable motherfucking Sunday for the whole motherfucking PSR crew. And be sure to check us out on Mondays, as our boy said. Medicaid Mondays. It's a motherfucking blast. We got the best panel in the fucking whole crew. LJ's coming through. I believe 15 and fucking 2 or some crazy shit. Our boy Dabby Cav's numbers are insane, 21 and 8. We got razor sharp picks, and of course, Pimp Slap Play of the Day, Mike motherfucking Money. So tune the fuck in, Medicaid Mondays, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Let's have a Sunday, my man. Stay fresh.
There he is, Dutch Boy Fresh. We stay in Las Vegas here, and we bring on the headliner of this show. A plus. The way CMAC works is even when he goes 4-4, he ends up in the black. This guy is a plus money hunter, and 4-4 on week 1, but plus 0.27 units. Let's bring him on right now to close this bad boy up. Please welcome from Las Vegas, Nevada, Connor Mack to the show. CMAC, how are you?
Jamie, what's going on? I'm good. A lot of hours. Been up a long time. But
I know you wake up so early on these Sundays. I respect it very, very, very much. Here we go, CMAC. We have 15 minutes till kickoff. We are good to go, but let's get started here. Titans, Cleveland Browns, and you're going to give us a different look on this Brown spot, so take it away.
This one, usually I've sat with it really all week here, Jimmy, and normally I just can't be on a public dog, but I can't get over this. Total keeps dropping here. I don't think the Browns are very good. I do think Watson will be able to throw the ball a little bit over this Tennessee defense, but they bend but don't break. I like variable. We have the hook. I have to take it here with the Titans. One other thing, look at this prop. I think look at Folk. He's already had 5 in game 1, 2 last week. Titans do kick field goals, so looked over as 1.5. It was plus 120. I just wanted to throw that out there. But I have to take the hook here with the Titans. Disgruntlingly, I just have to do it in the end. I got to keep this extra half on the board. And what I see a tight game, that's low scoring.
You got it. Titans plus 3.5. And that's doesn't cost you anything. Minus 105 for the Titans plus 3.5 and minus 105. We go from a side to a player prop. Broncos, Dolphins, take it away. Oh, actually, you have side and prop. Sorry, you have the double up spot here.
Double up here.
Broncos, Dolphins, take it away.
Yeah, I think this is desperate mode here. We talked about this the other day on the show on Wednesday. Desperate spot for the Broncos. I mean, we have to a defense that's been shredded. Kind of got to give a little bit here. Russell Wilson, can he just go on the road here and give a good effort? Fuck, I don't know. But I'm putting in the Broncos' hands plus 6. Dolphins off 2-0. Another big win. They come home. They're feeling good. I just love the 0-2, 2-0 here spot. It's just worked over the years in the NFL. We're getting plus 6 with the Broncos. You mentioned Waddle's out. I think a bunch of people have been on this, or a few people, right? 3 or 4. I'm on the Broncos plus 6 in this one. Also, Jerry Jeudy came back last week to get 3 for 25, Jimmy. They have to get him the ball. He's too dynamic. I thought this was a little bit cheap. I got 48.5 this morning over receiving yards minus 110. Just get him the rock, and I think you'll cash that.
Let's lock this in for you. So first off, the plus 6, market wide available, minus 110. Jeudy over 48.5 receiving yards was at what juice?
Minus 110.
Minus 110 as well. Jeudy to start rolling. I think the time has got to be here now. I mean, he got the game in. He's been getting full practices in. When is he going to step up and be elite? We know he's got it in him. And Broncos plus 6 at minus 110. Next up, we move over to FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland for CMAC. Take it away here, Bills, Commanders.
Shout out to the chat. I got to hit up these guys real quick. I appreciate all you guys there. I think we got rain here. I think this game could be an under. This was a close game for me, Jimmy, to pull the trigger on the under. And this was 43. It's 44 now everywhere. I had 6. You have to get me a 5.5 if you can, or I'm not going to be on Washington. I know it's kind of a dead number there. That's why I really need the 6 in this game. But I think the Commanders keep it close. One thing I think comes down to, Dutch was just on your Josh Allen and Hal. Who makes the mistakes in this game? Especially if it's wet, it's raining. That's, I think, what's the factor in this one. And I think it's too many points. I think the Bills, you want to look to them at home after the big win against the Raiders, bounce back on the road. I think they might win this game, but it's tight. Give me the Commanders. Whatever the best you can get.
You got so screwed here, and I hate it. I feel like guilty because it's now 4.5 at some books. Now
I need a 5.5.
Oh, we can easily get you a 5.5 right now, but it's going to cost a dime. Minus 120. I'd love. Oh wait, no. Minus 114. Sports Interaction. Okay, good.
Okay, I think we could almost.
If you can find one, can you find one with minus 110?
I'll look around.
Okay. So I'll put
I knew this was dropping, so
dropping fast,
this morning.
which is a great sign. It just screws you for the show purposes, but I know you got this at a better number, and I apologize, and I thank you for having to deal with this stuff because you always take the headlining spot on the show, and I love having you in the spot. Let's keep rolling. Falcons, Lions, Ford Field, Detroit, Michigan. Take it away.
I just have to roll over in this game. I couldn't get past it. This one needs to be 47's it for me on my max in this game. I bet it at 46. I just think we see points. I don't trust this Falcons defense, especially now that they've hit the road. And the Lions defense might be better, but I'm not so sure. We saw them last week. Same old with the Seahawks, kind of just go up and down, and it easily got over that total. I thought if this was mid-40s, this gets over. If you have a 47, give it to me. Over.
All right, let's grab the over for you here. We can get you just a flat 47 at a couple different books. Bet Chris, Will Hill. So let's get you that over 47. I know you got in at 46, so I hope this doesn't end up on a push because of it, but respect. Let's move on. We have 2 player props, and then thankfully, C-Mac is touching on the Monday Nighter, which we hope that he will jump on screen with us for. He's the only one who's hammering the Monday Nighter. Let's go to Cowboys, Cardinals. We have a same player parlay. Take it away.
Oh, real quick on that Commanders.
Yeah.
I cashed week 1 with it. Just look to Brian Robinson. He's getting the carries. I think he's at 18, 19. At times it's not easy to run on the Bills, but go back. I mean, his TD prop is still around 140. I know it's dropping a little bit, but just go back to him. I think he gets plenty of carries as well. Again, his rush yards are at 52 in that game. This one for me, he hasn't scored yet. He's had plenty of stats, and I think he gets easier. The only thing is maybe it's a blowout, but I think he gets that early here with the Cowboys. I think they could throw all over Arizona. We saw what the New York Giants did in the second half. I know they had the lead, and it's that prevent defense. And, the Cardinals were probably like, oh, these teams play back. And then all of a sudden, then they're screwed. Game's tied, and they lose it. But I have to be on CD Lamb. It's still too low. I got this morning, 70.5 receiving yards, too low. You could even look at his receptions. I believe he had 11 last week. He's eating, and he hasn't found the end zone. Some of these big receivers, I think they look for him. And I got plus 120 this morning. CD Lamb over 70.5 receiving yards, and his TD at plus 120.
Locked in plus money spot. You move on to your next spot, and this, of the player props that I've heard, nothing has made more sense to me than this, even though the Steelers have such a tough defense. But this is when you want to buy in on a player after 9 carries for minus 2 yards. Take it away for us. Your next player prop, Steelers Raiders.
Yeah, being here in Vegas, I hear everything about the Raiders, and they're going to get the rock here to Jacobs early and often. You mentioned it. That first game, too, against the Broncos, just mediocre. He caught a few more. I think he had 49 rushing yards. And last week, he had 9 for fucking -2 yards. And then the second half, they were blown out. They didn't even run it. He didn't even play. We come back home, they're going to give him the ball. And we're going against the Steelers defense that so far through 2 games is dead last. They gave up 186. McCaffrey had 152 in game 1. Then we saw what the Browns did, 198 in that game. So Chubb had 106 before he went out. Ford, I don't know, he had 80 or whatever it was. It's 198 total. Josh Jacobs over 70.5 rushing yards. And also look at this one too. I'm probably going to be on it because I was looking. It just correlates. It's 17.5 carries. Maybe I'll jump on tonight, but I think it correlates as well. I think they have to get him 20 carries on that Steelers defense that right now that can't stop the run. And, in years past, you think of Steelers, they can do that. But in the last couple of years, that run defense hasn't been great. It just hasn't. Josh Jacobs over 70.5 rushing yards.
Locked in. And then we get to the Monday nighter to close this up. By the way, I just made 2 bets. So I just made my final 2 additions. Indy, Baltimore, under 43.5. I know that there's great cappers on the other side, but I just have to hit it. And then I finally pulled the trigger on Saints, Packers, under 41.5. That's dropped a point since the announcement. I could have got the 42.5, but I did move.
Are you on the Panthers under?
I'm not, but I've been staring at that game all.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking at the points and the under in that game.
I had my short list. The only one move I made on it, other than now 2, because I moved on the under in the Packers Saints, but was the only other one I moved on was the Falcons. What I didn't move on were that I looked at all week were the Panthers, Broncos, and Texans, and the Saints for that matter. But and I'm nervous that I imagine. And something that Pete has tracked for years is that the leans hit harder than your bets, and I imagine that those spots are going to be nice here. Let's go to the final spot on the board here. We have 5 minutes until kickoff. BJ all over the Buccaneers. We moved on the Buccaneers as well at plus 5.5, and this is our Monday nighter. Eagles, Buccaneers. We've seen the market move towards the Bucs. One thing we haven't talked about though, and that is sitting at 5. That 5 is slightly juiced to the Bucs. So you can get it without the juice, though. And then we haven't spoken about the over, which I would like to touch on here quickly. The over, or the total, I'm not on the over, but the total, I should say, is sitting at 45 right now, juiced to the under. And this opened up right there. So it's sitting right where it was. And when we go over to the cash flow here, we have 49% of the tickets, 67% of cash on the Bucs. I mean, clear, it feels like a sharp spot. And 41% of tickets, 80% cash on the under. Take it away. What's your Monday night spot?
Yeah, we got through this. I talked about Tuesday night when I did my radio. This was kind of the first game I looked at. I got 5.5, but there's 5s everywhere. And I thought I'd get 6. Jimmy, I mentioned that. I thought the next morning there could be 6. There wasn't. I thought there'd be a little bit more Eagle love early on in the week. It didn't, and there was 4.5 for a little bit, and obviously it's just settled here at 5. Monday nighter, Bucs have looked really, really good so far, and there's one key behind it. I think the defense right now, at least, is healthy, playing well. Is Baker Mayfield. He just has to take care of the ball, and he's done it in the first 2 weeks. Hopefully they can get a running game a little bit, being at home here on Monday night. And then the big bag, Eagles come to town 2-0, and I don't think they've been impressive. Obviously, that offense is still very, very good, and that's going to be difficult to get down. But this Eagles defense, I think, has been a little bit soft early on, and the secondary is just not there. We mentioned it, the injuries they're dealing with right now in that secondary. So I think Evans and this receivers here for the Bucs can score some points. I just have to be on the Bucs Monday night.
Love it.
Usually I'd wait for this, but we talked about, I gave it out on the show on Tuesday night anyways, on the radio. So I'm on it. So just give it here before tomorrow.
I love it. The plus 5. I'm right with you. Rashad White, I mean, he showed us something finally last week. So maybe there's a chance that there will be. Maybe this isn't the worst running game in the league. Maybe if we can have a decent running game. I mean, Rashad White showed us.
I think he gets 75 yards. Or I think that to be okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We
have C-Mac here, Buccaneers plus 5, Jacobs over 70.5 rush yards, CeeDee Lamb over 70 receiving yards and a touchdown at plus 120, over 47 in Atlanta, Detroit, Commanders plus 5.5 at minus 114, Judy over, unless you found a minus 110, Judy over 48.5 receiving yards, and Broncos plus 6 at minus 110, and the Titans plus 3.5, minus 105 for our guy C-Mac, the star of our huge show on Mondays, hitting the books alongside Bo Bano. They bookended this show. The stars of that show bookended this show. Great job, C-Mac. Did we find a minus 110?
Oh, I haven't looked since we've been talking. Okay. Real quick, The Lamb TD, you got plus 120, but the over 70.5 is minus 110.
Oh, shoot. Sorry. I thought, my bad. Oh, thank you for mentioning
that's not, his TD is plus 120 and his.
Okay. Yeah. That makes more sense. Okay. Thank you for mentioning that. That is fixed. C-Mac.
I haven't looked here.
Thank you for making time.
I guess if I find it, I'll message you. But 114 is fine. I think if that's cool. In the end. Okay.
Great work. Thank you for all your hustle for us. Also, the star of our Saturday college football live streams, and he will be rocking with us. We hope on Monday. We know that he's got so much prep for his college football show on Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern. And follow him on Twitter at Connor Mac Picks. Connor, thank you for making time for us, man. Any last words for the Cappers supporting the show?
Shout out to the chat, baby. Let's have a huge Sunday, Jimmy. Let's fucking go, baby. Let's get it. We be pumping.
Kickoff is 1 minute away. Wine Time Sports, I tell you, and I know the market's moved with me here, and maybe it's lower than it should be, but my best bet is the Tennessee Cleveland under. And I got 39.5, but I'd give that as my birthday pick at 38. That's the one I really feel the most confidence with. Because I don't think you can get the first half -7 for the Chiefs. If you could, I would say the Chiefs first half -7. So if you can get the Chiefs first half -7, I would say that would be the birthday pick. I don't know if that's available. If it's not, which I imagine it's not, then it would be the Tennessee Cleveland under 39.5. Here we go. We need a week. It's kickoff right now, and we have our big show with Sharpie popping off right now. And I know you guys are leaving, but please let me tell you guys all of the picks here, and feel free to jump over to Sharpie show. But these are everybody's picks here on our show today. Bobano's on the Chargers +1 in the over 53.5. Patriots money line. Packers and the over 41.5 in New Orleans, Green Bay. We're going heads up in that one. Over 47 in Denver, Miami. Over 46.5 in Atlanta, Detroit. Over 43 in Indianapolis, Baltimore. So both of those are my late additions going up against them, but I had to do it. Colts +8. We're both on together. Cowboys -12.5 and Cowboys team total over 27.5. Brizzy gave us the Jefferson anytime TD, Lamar Jackson anytime TD, and Calvin Ridley anytime TD. He also parlayed those all together at +11.52. Jose Bouquet gave us Jets +2.5 and even money under 35.5 there. Commanders +5.5. Saints +1. Texans +7.5 and the Broncos +6 at -103. Pistol Pete Loshak coming off a 3-0 day. He gave Desmond Ritter's rushing prop as the birthday pick to Wine Time Sports. He's on the Colts +7.5. Ritter over 15.5 rush yards, of course, and the Panthers +6. Pavy, Alex Pavone joining us from New York. He's on the Broncos +6, the Colts +7.5, and the Browns -3, the Jets +2.5, and the Falcons +3.5. Tim Earl, half of Earl Sports Bets, gave us the under 44 in Houston, Jacksonville. Panthers +5, Raiders -3. Dutch Boy Fresh gave us Broncos first half +3.5, Vikings -107. He stayed off the Saints Packers after the announcement of the injuries. He's on Josh Allen over 30.5 rush yards and the touchdown at +190. Those are separate bets, -135 and +190 respectively. Justin Fields touchdown at +150. And then I just went over C-Max action. We have nothing without you guys. Saturated, Sean Childress, Leroy Flood, Gagnon, Tori Coker, William Torres, BJ, Perky, David Barista, Harold Williams, Equinimus, Jared TG, Dom Play, Mark Nick. Thank you, guys. I wish I could shout you all out because you all deserve it. Philly Eagle Flyer, Terry Walker, Coactus, Mike Wilkerson, Ron Crawford, Dabracadabra, J Dub, Juan Ruiz, Christopher Tatum, Primetime 99, Nate Dogg 420, Andrew G, Rez Mob in the house. Thank you, guys. Justin McElvey, Sancho, Wine Time, Mark Unkefer, The Wolverine, Big Daddy Boom, Cheshire TJ, Jake. Thank you, guys. I wish we could give you all a shout out. Please jump over to our guy Sharpie's Red Zone show that's on right now. And big thank you to Jose Bouquet. Not only did he star in today's show, but he also does so much hard work behind the scenes making the show look good. We have nothing without you, Jose, my friend. Have yourself a big, big Sunday. Let's have ourselves a giant Sunday. Kickoff is now. Let's fucking go.